ball club and learn a little bit more about Brian Kelly's team. So we'll get into that as well this morning. We got Chris Deering coming up with the high school highlights of the week. And you know who I've gotten as our guest, correct? I put mystery guest on our rundown.
I think I have an idea.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea.
We will have I'll tell you, you got to stick around to about 7:30, 7:40 this morning. But we got a mystery guest, a legend, another legend in the South Carolina, Georgia series that has promoted a lot of legends on the South Carolina side. And Tyler Head has created a neat little montage we'll let you listen to this morning. Coming up in the next segment, we'll kind of go back down memory lane for a second. Preston's a part of two of the best. I mean, we can kind of do a best of South Carolina victories over Georgia. Kerry Tharp yesterday coming up with one that I really don't know much about, and that's, I think he said, the 87 game that Robert Brooks had a huge catch in.
He was on that. That immediately came to his mind.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. You think about South Carolina. South Carolina's victories in this series have usually produced legends. Brandon Bennett. I don't know if you'd consider Quincy Carter a legend, excuse me, for the right reasons, but obviously Brian Scott in that game. Ace Sanders, the punt return. Israel Makwamu's performance, along with Rodrigo Blankenship, not knowing where the field goal was.
Melvin
Ingram, another game in which, yes, produce.
I like to submit DK Joyner.
DK Joyner.
I think the legend of DK Joyner started with the Georgia game.
People are screaming at their phone, right, or at their however you're listening this morning. Marcus Lattimore.
Oh,
obviously his true coming up. If you really break it down, very rarely has South Carolina won this game where it didn't produce some kind of legend.
We also had another legend, David Pollock.
Very rarely has South Carolina won this game. You are right, though. You're not wrong.
I know. That was legendary. You're not, all the wrong reasons.
You're not right. Yeah, Preston's been a part, and we'll go down memory lane with him on this. 3 of the more memorable games in this series, obviously the 2000, the 2001, and the 2002 games, in terms of great games, rank up there. 2 of which you were able to be a part of winning teams. The third, unfortunately, a very tough day at Williams-Brice Stadium there that didn't go South Carolina's way. But we'll get into that. We'll go down memory lane coming up in the next segment. But of course now. Well, Preston, I don't know when trash talking season starts every day in Gamecock Larry's world. Yesterday was behind him, so it's trash talking season. Jen, let's hit the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry, everybody. How you doing this morning, young man?
I'm doing just fine. I want to show you how much I'm worried about this Georgia game. I woke up at 5 minutes to 6. Well, I got up about 4 o'clock and got my recliner, went back to sleep. Woke up about 5 minutes to 6. That's how much I worry about Georgia. What's going to happen? Short and sweet. That they go drop back a little bit quicker, drop back a little bit further, throw it a little bit longer. The receiver's going to run under it. Touchdown. Final score. Georgia 31. Gamecocks 31. Gamecocks 37. 31. I think that's right.
Oh,
you figured it out for me, Bill. Makes you 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals. Now, is that right? Anyway, we're going to beat them by 6. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later. Going back to sleep. Bulldog bark. All you get Bulldog, Dr. Bulldog, going back to sleep. Going to get some more sleep and get ready for the weekend. And if you want to call me, I got my phone on mute. You'll take the message and I'll call you when I wake up. I ain't worried one bit. Let's see, I got it now. 28, 31, 34, 30, 37, 30, 37, 31. That's it. Good Gamecock. Is that right, Vincent? Is it a figure right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Have a good weekend. Love all y'all and go 37-31. Crying time for the dogs. Laughing time for the Gamecock. Go Gamecock. Love all y'all. And if I'm wrong, Bill,
I'll
take
remind you.
107.5. I'll take you out to dinner anytime, anywhere, every place. Go Gamecock.
Halls, here we come.
If that's not an endorsement for our program that he called in to start the program, wanted to hear himself talk, and is going back to sleep, not worried about the other 2 hours and 50 minutes of the program, is going back to sleep. And it's also put out there.
I don't think it's the case that he wants to hear himself talk. I think it's he's wanting to get his position in. He's wanting to make it. He's wanting to make his contribution
early.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Also, I'd like to contribute to this that we're gonna change that bet around, and this is for the crew.
Okay.
Don't fall for what I did back in 2019.
I don't know what you did, but if Gamecock Larry's right, I submit that we all must eat liver pudding and grits.
I'll get on board with that.
Okay.
I got your grits.
37-31. If Gamecock Larry's right, the morning crew online will be eating liver pudding and grits.
I'll get on board with that. Yeah.
Go 36.
Yeah. He's got to hit the score dead on, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Dead
Okay.
on.
Has to be dead
Set
on.
the parameters of
Correct.
this incredibly awful breakfast that that Preston's subjecting us to. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. Liver pudding and grits it is.
Liver pudding. Pudding.
Pudding.
Mm-hmm.
No G on
Actually,
that.
I knew a woman that was her name, and like on her driver's license, that was her name. Puddin.
I knew a pudding growing up too. So actually, I knew two pudding. Shout out to I know. Yeah. There you go. Growing up in South Carolina, there we go.
And like that, we're off and running. It is a football Friday. Gamecocks, Bulldogs. The Gamecock Larry prediction is in 37-31. We'll get some of yours. But coming up next, we'll take a little trip down memory lane. There was some very interesting games for Preston Thorne, and Tyler Head has created a montage of incredible moments. We'll let you listen to them. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Jay and Terry will do the afternoon show live from Todd and More Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. They'll be giving away a $50 Todd and More gift card and a Carolina prize pack.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hey, it's Jen, and I'll tell you what, it's been a long several months since Christmas Eve when we had pipes burst in our house, flooded the entire downstairs, and that meant the entire kitchen, that is, had to be gutted. All of our cabinets had to come out, and I was not in the mood to even think about picking out cabinets. But someone told us about CHW Cabinetry in Lexington, and we're thrilled they did. Locally owned, a women-owned business, and they were so helpful in helping us find the cabinets that we would like, and we got it all designed. And then those photorealistic renderings that they're famous for showed us exactly what the kitchen would look like. It's actually a photograph of how it would look, and that helped us when we had to pick out all the other elements in the kitchen. So if you need cabinets for your home, even maybe some outdoor cabinets, for watching football this season, visit chwcabinetry.com for more information or call them at 803-520-6837. Make sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Plus text and title with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for details. This month at JT's Dodgeland on Greystone, new Rams slashed up to $11,000. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Chargers and Challengers slashed up to $5,000. Zero down. No payments till next year. Shaky credit, don't sweat it. JT can say yes. Savings up to $11,000. Zero down and no payments till next year. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. Ram Power Days.
Snakes, rodents, and mold all live and grow beneath your home and eventually will find their way inside. Canty Foundation Specialist is your local trusted expert in crawl space sealing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Moisture and high humidity in your crawl space create an environment for mold and mildew and affect the air you breathe inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
At Kroger, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Grapes are a family favorite, and right now, Kroger red, white, or black seedless grapes are on sale. 99 cents a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Trucks, we want trucks. New Silverados are on the ground now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. We're taking up to $15,000 off to get you in your new truck. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile, smile.
For whatever you may want in most any kind of sport, Todd and More is where it begins.
Can you believe that since the year 1944, the Midlands has depended on Todd & More? That's right, featuring 500 styles of name brand athletic shoes for men, women, and children. Plus, they have those hard to find sizes and they're always in stock. Right now, you have to go check out their great selection of On Cloud shoes, designed to be the lightest, fully cushioned running shoe on the market. With soft landings followed by explosive takeoffs, it's like running on clouds. Let Todd & More be your store for equipment, apparel, shoes, and accessories. Open 10 to 6 Monday through Friday at 620 UG Street near Blossom. On-campus shopping, so convenient, just below the Coliseum.
Equipment for your sport, from the diamond to the court, Todd & More is where it begins. If you can swing it, throw it, hit it, bounce it, bring it, roll it, kick it, pop it.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Don't really see any major slowdowns to speak of. We do have a disabled vehicle, Ermine Road at Highway 1. That could slow things down a little bit. People kind of taking a peek. But outside of that, no accidents to report. So we're definitely happy about that. High today of 82. Our overnight low of 59. That's starting to feel like fall. Sunny on Saturday, 83 for the high. Maybe some storms in the evening coming in on Sunday. And looking for a high that day of 81. Overnight low of 62, but looking for low to mid 80s for all next week. Right now, 68 on the early game.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$6:19 on a Friday morning as we get you up and get you going, get you ready for the weekend. Some football last night, but a whole bunch of football tomorrow, including South Carolina and Georgia. Our co-host, our good friend Preston Thorne, has been a part of many of these games, and there's been some legendary moments in South Carolina history in these games. I asked Tyler Head to put together a little montage of the moments in this series since 1992. Because one thing about tomorrow will be the end of a 31-game consecutive games played streak, and a lot of great memories for South Carolina fans. A lot of bad memories, but a lot of great memories Here is a little montage of some great moments in the last 31 years.
Bennett, touchdown, South Carolina! With 2 seconds to go. This Staley is going to score from 51 yards.
Big interception. Dennis Quinn second.
Bennett goes to the end zone and taken away for a touchdown, and that is Brian Scott. I mean, the defensive back was there to make the interception.
Slides over to the near sideline. Ace drops one, picks it up at the 30, 35. Ace with a move up the middle. Another at the 50. Open space for Ace. He can't get him at the 30. At the 20, got one man to beat. 10-5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Ace Sanders.
Nathan Theus will snap it. Erickson puts it down. And he skimmed it. Oh, my.
Wow. Into coverage and picked off. Mukwama down the near sideline. At the 30, at the 20. Run, Mukwama. In the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina.
Take that, Georgia.
Blankenship looks, nods, says he's ready to take it to the third overtime. Kicks it up. And no good. That's it. He missed it. And the Gamecocks win it in Athens in second overtime. Carolina takes down number 3, Georgia. They win it 20-5.
Good job by Tyler. Yeah. Wish Tyler would have let it play out just a little longer. Some of those clips, the Brandon Bennett over the top things. But man,
I'm fired up, man.
That is a good montage of some great. There's others. The one you might not have understood, the one that was another missed field goal, was Marshall Morgan missing that chippy against Dylan Thompson in South Carolina in 2014 when South Carolina that they had lost. They'd been blitzed by Texas A&M, I think the week prior. Came back. Georgia was in town, and remember who that offensive coordinator was for Georgia that night. They get down inside the 10-yard line, and it was Hunter Mason was the was the quarterback at that time, and Todd Gurley was standing in the backfield. And instead of Todd Gurley maybe 3 times up the middle, Mike Bobo got a little cute.
I think that's when they fell out of love with Bobo.
Yes, and it was a kicker. And if you go back, and I was watching that as I was sending stuff to Tyler last night, that field goal in 2014, it had rained that day, and it was a wild experience. South Carolina was a great game. It really was one of the better games played at Williams-Brice Stadium I've ever been a part of. That field goal starts hooking in, for some reason, curves right around the goalpost. Like
On the backside.
Starts in, curls back right, and then swings back left to the point that I think it was Vern and was that Gary Danielson, I believe, are trying to figure out how, from their vantage point, how it missed, and it had curved. But a really cool montage there by Tyler Head.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, man. Hearing those sounds and thinking about the games I was part of, the games that I was even part of as a spectator, namely the 2012 Ace Sanders. I was there at that game, rocking. It's just a tremendous idea. So when you talk about the Georgia game, this is it. I mean, I've gotten disturbing texts from my brother this week because he's a Georgia fan. This is one of the better weeks of the season for sure.
What do you remember about your first experience? You were red shirting. But y'all had just snapped the streak against New Mexico State, and you come out. Now my one big memory of it was going to lunch with Lou with my father in 2000, and somebody again asked Lou about his red shirt policy. And if you remember, South Carolina had been wearing the black jerseys the first year under Holtz, and Lou at lunch with Lou in his typical fashion. I think he'd run through his gamut of magic tricks. You know, that was his thing. He'd come in and do all the he had gone through that, but somebody asked him about his red shirt policy. He goes, I don't know. We might wear our red shirts tomorrow. And lo and behold, y'all came out they were shiny. I don't know if I'd call them garnet, but
yeah, I remember everybody was pretty fired up about that game. But I remember I think they had a special on ESPN, and they were talking to Derek Watson, and I remember not being surprised. And I don't know whether that was naive or naivete or whatever the case was. I remember being like, man, we're going to win this game. Those dudes are going to go out there and win. Because I knew I wasn't playing. But I was like, man, we practiced. Whatever you talk about, the juju in the locker room, it was something where we weren't as surprised as the world was, because I think we had a feeling that we were going to go in there and compete at least.
What was as a defensive lineman, what was it like as interceptions start to pile up for Quincy Carter? We talked yesterday about Micah Parsons talking, hey, you got to get Daniel Jones out because we're smacking him everywhere. But when you see a quarterback starting to throw interception after interception, what is that like as a defense?
Well, the part of the game plan that week was going to drop a D lineman back in coverage and bring the blitz. And the whole week is like, man, DQ, you ain't going to catch the ball. Ain't nobody. And people are, D linemen are dropping balls throughout the week. And it's like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. But, and lo and behold, it worked really well. And I also think that was Charlie Strong's coming out game where people are like, oh, who's this guy they got going down there? And so it was just a culmination of a lot of different things that were coming together at one time.
2001, you go over there, different atmosphere because now Georgia is really paying attention. Night game, ESPN, Squeaky runs the opening kickback 66 yards to set up a 33-yard touchdown. That's really about the only scoring that takes place for the majority of that game. Georgia kicks 3 field goals, but that was different because Georgia took y'all, I would say, a lot more serious that year.
Yeah, and going into that game, that's the game where I think we turned the corner as a program, where it was like nobody was surprised. We knew we was going to go in there and we was going to win that game regardless of how it turned out. And was it 14-9?
Yeah.
That was the game we wanted to play. Like, we were very comfortable playing a very low scoring, pack your defense, pack your special teams, do all the fundamentals. That was the game that we want to play. And we went in there, and it wasn't even Brian Scott obviously made a great play, but it wasn't a fluke win. We just went in there and beat them. And so that was one. Shout out to JG, Jeremiah Garrison. He had an interception early in that game to kind of lock it down. And that was a really awesome win also.
As a player, I don't know, you probably weren't involved in the play call because there had been, again, I think, I'll have to go back and look. I think Watson had hit another long kickoff return to set up great field position. And, of course, you're down 9-7. All you need is a field goal. I remember watching it. I was in college. I'll never forget where I was in the living room, and it's 3rd and whatever. And you're thinking, all right, Holtz is just going to run it. We're going to get in the middle of the field. And I believe that was big, bad Daniel Weaver at the time. We're going to set up Daniel Weaver to kick the game winner, win 10-9. And all of a sudden, Petty's dropping back. And I'm going, oh, this could be interesting. Lost it for the end zone, and Brian Scott makes an incredible catch.
Yeah, he put it up there, and it was one of those things. It was up in the air. I guess that's when you talk about your quarterbacks giving your receiver a chance to make a play. Probably one of the best examples of a no. Good.
Yes.
Good. One of those type of plays, but Brian went up there and made a play for sure.
803-404-6100. We'll get into a little bit more of what Preston remembers. You say that the 2001 game maybe solidified y'all as a program. I think you always wonder if you win the 2002 game, how that carries over through the remainder of the year, maybe what that ends up doing for the program there at the end of the Holtz era.
Yeah, because it's a very short window, but if 2001 made the program, I think 2002 broke us. By the way we lost that game.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Pinnock fumbled at the goal line. 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in. Thank you to Tyler Head. We'll get that montage played several more times this morning. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Come watch the Gamecocks and the #1 Bulldogs at O'Hara's this Saturday. It's another 107.5 The Game viewing party. We'll be giving away Gamecocks football tickets.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
There is a new way, and with college football and NFL back, there's a new way to play fantasy sports because football is back and you want to be involved. Underdog Fantasy right now. The easiest and best way to play fantasy sports and win a little bit of money. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or go to your app store and download Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today. Use the promo code 1075 The Game, and Underdog Fantasy will double your first deposit of up to $100. Check it out. You can play fantasy sports. So this weekend, Spencer Rattler, you can look at his total yardage or his passing yardage and go higher or lower, and you can actually win money if you get it correct. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code 1075 The Game. Must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. That's Underdog Fantasy. Play it today.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free, so you can drive with peace of mind. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Carolina Power Equipment, the Midlands Kubota Superstore, is proud to announce our association with Kai Kroger, University of South Carolina punter extraordinaire.
I am super happy to be here. Carolina Power Equipment is the place to come get yourself a Kai Boda.
Sorry, Kai, that's Kubota. You know, Kubota tractors and zero turns.
That's right. Carolina Power Equipment has the awesome Kai Boda tractors that can kick some serious dirt.
Yes, the Kubota L-Series tractors are some of the most dependable and popular tractors on the market.
Yep, and the Kai Boda zero turns can keep your lawn looking like game day every day. Guaranteed to stop and turn on a dime, just like my sweet kicks.
It's Kubota. Kubota.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in the heart of Casey. Or visit CarolinaPowerEquipment.com.
Kubota. It's the only orange I'll ever love.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits, like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
Plus, text tags entitled approved credit call 888-320-6359 for details. This month at JT's Kia, you can get a brand new Kia without a penny out of your pocket. No payments till next year. Right now at JT's Kia. New 2023 Kias from $19,990. Forte, Sorrento, Telluride. JT sells more because he saves you more. Nobody beats JT. New Kias from $19,990. Not a penny out of your pocket. No payments till next year. I-77 at Killian Road. JT'sKia.com.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Slow down. Speaking of right now, we did mention a disabled vehicle, Ermine, at Highway 1. But again, not an accident, just disabled. And people might be slowing down just to get around that. But aside from that, all is really good for your Friday morning. We love that. Definitely a weekend where it's going to start to feel a little bit more like fall. 82 for the high today, but our overnight low of 59. 83 for the high tomorrow under sunny skies. And 64 for that overnight low. So we're enjoying this while we can. 68 right now on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
We'll play some more. That's a great montage by Tyler Head. We'll continue to play it throughout the morning. I did leave one off, so we will play some more great moments in South Carolina, Georgia history. I don't know if people are nostalgic because we're gonna keep playing Georgia. Like it's not like this goes on a 10-year hiatus or a 5-year hiatus. It's just a 1-year break. It may end up being 2, but 31 consecutive years of playing the Bulldogs has been something special. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that other clip, Jen. We'll save it for maybe coming back in the next break. Another great moment in South Carolina, Georgia history in favor of the Gamecocks. But we'll get to that a little bit too. What I was just bringing up about this particular rivalry. I know Georgia has had a lot of success, more success than the Gamecocks, but I don't know if people are nostalgic about breaking it next year, not seeing Georgia on the schedule.
This is it's a week that we've always looked forward to. It's a week that's always early in the season for us. It sort of sets the tone for the season. We know that if we go into this game and win it, more than likely we're going to have a good year. If we compete, we're probably going to have a good year also. It's a barometer for us. For me, it's one of the best games of the year to me. And so I think obviously we'll still play them, but I do like the idea of playing them every year.
Yeah, and I don't think, at least based on what we're kind of getting feedback on, that it will be an every year deal moving forward. And again, maybe that probably maybe some older Gamecock fans who have watched this thing even in the going back to the 80s, the early 80s. But we'll talk more about that. But let's look around college football for a minute, and let's start out where game day will be, where a 10:30 ESPN Colorado State-Colorado matchup will take place.
Oh, Fox Big Noon will be there also.
Fox, yeah.
Also, 60 Minutes will be there.
Oh, good
for
grief.
folks of a different demo. Yeah, 60 Minutes
really?
will be there. Yes.
Okay. So all the big name college football brands will be in Boulder on Saturday. Jay Norvell called out Deion Sanders. Now, Preston, I actually thought this was far different. Matt Rule made comments during the summer about the use of the transfer portal and certain teams building through it. And I didn't think, look, yes, Deion used the transfer portal, but I didn't necessarily feel like that was a complete shot at Deion in Colorado because they're not in the same conference. They were old school rivals, is what it is. Jay Norvell, on the other hand, showed up to his weekly radio show on Wednesday and said, I don't care if they hear this in Boulder, which when you say that means you want them to hear it in Boulder. He says, I told ESPN I take my hat off and I took my glasses off. When I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me.
That little part right there was where he went wrong.
Deion Sanders responded. He reacts to Jay Norvell, Colorado State coach. Here's what Deion had to say.
Yes, sir. I'm minding my own business, watching some film, trying to get ready, trying to get out here and be the best coach I could be. And I look up and I read some bull junk that Deion said about us. Talk to us. Once again, talk to us. Why would you want to talk about us when we don't talk about nobody? All we do is go out here, work our butts off, and do our job on Saturday. Yes, but when they give us ammunition.
First of all, bull junk is a great line.
So gonna be using that.
That's very high up there on the words that you can say when you're trying to say something that you're not trying
I'm
to say.
impressed that he knows how to quickly divert.
Well, that's his thing. Deion he does not curse. That's one of his staunch. And for all of the show and the pomp and circumstances about Deion, he's very much not who he plays. He's a character,
right?
And I think maybe what Jay Norvell didn't get is that this is just a character coming in. He's a wrestling figure. He wears glasses and chains. It is a character,
and he's got a guy in the back. Which, by the way, yelling, "Talk to him, tell him."
Right.
And if you saw that clip, he's like, "And guys, and now all of a sudden they made this what?" And all the team says, "Personal." And then they started talking about me, and they made it what? Personal. And he's going in, he's getting everybody all riled up, and it's like, come on, man. It's actually, I didn't think I would be here. I didn't know somebody would actually make me cheer for Deion. But Jay, you've managed to do that.
It is a crazy shot. Again, Jay Norvell saying Wednesday during his radio show He says, I don't care if they hear. See, there's so many layers to this. Is a shot.
Yeah.
This is
Oh, yeah.
taking Matt Rule last week. I thought he got unfairly
That was like, hey,
Just-
what happened? I didn't do that.
he's just talking college football, and if you want to make it, that's fine. If you want to make it about Colorado, no. When you say I don't care if they hear this in Boulder, it means I want you to hear this in Boulder.
Well, here's the thing. I kind of like it if Colorado State was any good.
Right. They're 20.5-point underdogs.
That's the issue with this. Colorado State is no good, and so it's probably not going to be it was never going to be a competitive game. So I listen, I'm here. I'm the one that gets on the radio all the time and talk about how boring college coaches are and they never say anything at press conferences. I'm here for it. I love it. The only part where he slipped up and wasn't tight was when he said the part about that's how my mama raised me. Because I know Deion said, "You talking about my mama?"
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's all he heard.
Yeah, to me, that was almost getting more personal. Like, you weren't raised right.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like,
that's why he slipped it off where he's like, "What you say about my mama?"
right.
And now that was personal, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I will be kind of interested to see what uniforms they come out in because Deion's flashy. The all whites in the first game, white helmets, white jerseys, white pants was great. The all blacks in the second game, black helmets, black jersey, black pants. Does he go old school here with the gold helmets, the black jerseys, the gold pants?
I think eventually there's going to be chains involved.
Well, Shador does play with the chain, which I noticed. I was like, that's a really expensive chain you have on underneath those pads. So I hope you don't plan on getting hit today. But this isn't the first time we had a coach talk about sunglasses. You remember back last year? You remember my guy, Mr. Stoops? He made a
put on some silly sunglasses.
He talked
and
about
dance
coaches
around.
wearing silly sunglasses, and then our guy responded.
Our guy. Did you see our fan base?
The fan base.
We were ready to march on Lexington, Kentucky.
After the game, he put on the sunglasses. So this is the thing, man.
True.
Hey, listen, what else are we here for in college football if it's not for this type of shenanigans? I'm here for it, man. Jay Norvell, you're about to get your brains beat in.
You know what would actually be kind of fun is to see the guys run out onto the field. They're carrying their helmets but wearing sunglasses.
There you go.
You know, that'd be fun.
Why not? I'm sure the student section in Colorado will all have sunglasses on. I'm 100% sure.
It's a 7:30, 10:30 Eastern game, 7:30 game. So you can watch TV.
Night.
You can get in bed and throw that game on, and just for the fireworks of it, enjoy it. That'll be fun. Tommy on our live stream points out Bill on air talking to adults and wearing a hat, and it should be pointed out wearing it backwards too.
Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
Yeah, wait till Preston takes you out back during the break.
Mm-hmm.
Why are people always wanting to take me? You want to take me out back? Preston
wearing that hat, sir.
803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning. We will recap the first hour when we return. A quick first hour, by the way. It's an enjoyable Friday. Hope you're doing well. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Gamecocks Game Day will be broadcasting live from O'Hara's at 10:30 a.m., getting you ready for the Gamecocks and the top-ranked Bulldogs.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
All right, it's Preston here for Integrated Media. Look, I've been telling you through the spring, been telling you through the summer. The season has started, but it's not too late. You can get your outdoors ready with Integrated Media. You want Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof? Fine, they can do that. Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, they can take care of that too. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. Easy. My favorite, control all your devices from just one remote. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone. Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or check them out online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute. All right, it's official, folks. The Eagles are off to a great start, and it wasn't aesthetically pleasing, but the bottom line is they are 2-0. New Minnesota defensive coordinator Brian Flores threw an assortment of exotic schemes and blitzes at Philly and Jalen Hurts, and Team Sirianni responded by going basic. They pounded out 259 yards on the ground, with hometown hero DeAndre Swift accounting for 175 of them. I'm Boomer Esiason.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are the Gant girls. You know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. For the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
Hi, I'm Kathy Bates. Anyone will tell you battling cancer is not pretty, and neither are the complications like lymphedema, a chronic disease that can leave anyone undergoing cancer treatment with a lifetime of swelling and pain, often affecting one's entire body and sense of self. If you're facing a cancer diagnosis, discuss lymphedema with your doctor. With knowledge and action, we can learn and live. Learn more at lymphaticnetwork.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated, and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the
Text line working this morning?
5, The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5, The Game in Florence.
It's a fake by the Gamecocks. Melvin Ingram, left side. He's running across the 40, 45. Georgia territory. Inside the 30. Big Melvin inside the 15, 10. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Melvin Ingram. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. No
68
flags.
yards,
No
Tommy.
flags.
Another great moment in South Carolina, Georgia history in favor of the Gamecocks there. The Melvin Ingram fake punt, as it took the television announcers several minutes to figure out that was Melvin Ingram that was streaking down the sideline there in a wild game in Athens back in, what was that, 2011, I believe. Am I right on that?
Don't know.
I believe that's, yes, 2011. 2013 was a loss And then 2014, South Carolina won. So the Gamecocks won 3 straight, 2010, 2011, and 2012. Lost 2013, won 2014. And that was kind of, again, you were beating Clemson 5 straight times. You won 4 out of 5 from Georgia. That was really the pinnacle of South Carolina's football history and a lot of great times. And unfortunately, since 2014, the rivalry has turned drastically in favor of Georgia. We'll see where, obviously, tomorrow night, 27.5-point favorite. Doesn't mean we can't make fun of Georgia, though.
I'm all here for it.
It doesn't mean we can't make fun of it. And when this happens this week, when Kirby Smart and his $4 haircut decides to bring up this, let's remind you of Tonka Hemingway riling up the Georgia fan base and mainly the fan base because they're not hostile. If you haven't heard this enough this week, here's one more time. Tonka and Kirby Smart.
Way environments are concerned. And in your career so far, what is the most hostile environment you've played in your time with the Gamecocks?
Ooh, hostile. I probably say like one of the loudest. Texas A&M. Texas A&M a good one. Tennessee can get pretty loud too as well. So between them two.
People want to question whether our fans are elite. We'll find out Saturday, right? Sounds like Tonka called them out. So maybe we need to use Tonka for motivation and let him be the one that spurns our group to come out there at 3:30 and be really loud and fired up. So I certainly hope our fan base will be there. They've answered the bell every single time. I don't know why they wouldn't now.
Way environments are
That's Kirby Smart. Insecure Kirby Smart. We can make fun of him.
Yeah, of course.
Let me go back.
Of course.
Let's see if you'll answer this. Let's see if 20 years later, let's see if the statute of limitations will allow you.
All right.
In your playing days, was there ever a coach that you just looked across at, win or lose, and was like, that guy's a dork? That guy over there is a dork.
I can't say that I did because I can't honestly think about paying that many of the coaches that much attention. So I didn't even give them enough airspace to even think, oh, that dude's a dork. Because I don't think I paid that much attention. So I can't say that. I'm sure I would have said that, but no, I can't say that.
803-404-6100. Let's read some of these text messages here that y'all have weighed in with. Anonymous texter says, if we don't matter, why are they talking about us? Go Gamecocks. I think they matter a little. I think they know this game. Kirby was there in 2019, obviously lost to Will Muschamp. They're going to be focused on this game. They're not looking ahead to whatever it is next that they have. They're focused on this game, and South Carolina's going to get Georgia's best shot.
Yeah, the same way last week I talked about how Pete Limbo knew what an FCS team would be thinking. I'm sure Will Muschamp is telling this team how an underdog will come in and approach this game and how his team felt coming in to win this game. So, yeah, it's not going to be any blind sides for sure.
Another anonymous texter says, Bill is the one of the game, hat backwards and hand above eyes to block the sun. That's a good point. Thank you. It's probably happened more than I would care to admit. Anonymous texter weighs in and says, would be great if coaches did pro wrestling promos on their upcoming opponents.
Why not?
I think that's slowly becoming a thing right now.
Let's do it, man. Let's go. Why else? We got the NFL for us to be bored and we got the no fun league already. Let's have some fun, man. I'm with it. If Jay Norvell just would have kept going, if he could have come out there and, like I said, the only unfortunate part is that they're going to get their brains beat in.
It's very likely going to happen. There is I was going to just mention another guy that would do it, but I'm not really going to go down this path today. Wild situation taking place at Mississippi at Ole Miss right now with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
Something just to keep an eye on. But I was going to say Lane Kiffin would be the one next to Deion Sanders doing the wrestling promo, right?
They can shoot promos. They can definitely shoot promos for sure.
Yeah. We might try and update you on this. This kind of broke late last night. But a situation now occurring at Mississippi where DeSanto Rollins was recently kicked off the team for missing practices and meetings during a mental health crisis and is now suing the university and Coach Lane Kiffin for failure to provide equal protection, racial and sexual discrimination, and multiple other allegations, according to a lawsuit that was filed yesterday. He is demanding $10 million in compensatory damages and $30 million in punitive damages. We might try and get to that a little bit later. Not necessarily what we were talking about today, but something definitely to watch for, I guess, and see kind of how that develops. Throw that in there with the Mel Tucker situation at Michigan State. A few more text messages here to get to. Chris weighing in this morning says, who remembers back in the day when Prime was telling Coach Joe Marson, don't throw it over here, Joe. No better trash talker than Prime.
And again, correct, but we can't act like we're surprised. We've seen this dude for a majority of our lives. We know who this guy, and to be clear, he hasn't changed. This is who he's been. He's always been this guy. I'm not sure why we would think he would be anything different as a coach.
There's just the idea of a button. You just expect the buttoned up coach. You expect and he's breaking all the norms.
This is the same dude who pulled up to his last game at Florida State in a limo.
Yeah.
And said, I'm out. I'm going to the league. This is the same guy.
Yeah. He's not above breaking a
If
few
nothing
norms.
else, he's consistent.
Hour 2 on the way.
It's personal.
It's personal in hour 2. It's the early game. Tell you what, if you're looking for a new job and you've got 5 years of HVAC experience, let me tell you about AAA Heating and Air. They are offering a rewarding career with the highest pay in the industry, a comprehensive benefits package, including 401k. You can get insurance and more, but that's not all. How about a take-home truck with the electronic inventory management? That's right. AAA Heating and Air is looking to hire the absolute best of the best, and you do not want to miss this opportunity. Again, their customers expect excellence, and that's what you will provide. So join their team of skilled professionals today. Contact AAA Heating and Air. Again, fantastic company to work for. You can check out all the great things where your skills will be valued and your future will be bright. So if, again, you've got 5 years of experience or more under your belt, contact AAA Heating and Air today. My AAA. AAA Heating and Air.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and help you save time and money down the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
What you're talking about.
On 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. There are lots of places to buy your next ride, but there is no place like Love Chevy, where you never pay more than MSRP, ever. Come by and feel the difference of love. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Hello and welcome to The Kroger Show. At Kroger, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Kroger app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store, with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Stock up and save with this fresh deal on Mueller's pasta or Starkist Chunk Light Tuna. Mix and match 10 for just $10 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
For Beverly, winning the fight against vision loss means focusing on what's closest to her.
Okay, Preston, we're
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Taking a look at those traffic conditions out there right now. We have no major slowdowns to speak of, no accidents to report. So all very good news for your Friday morning commute. Going to feel like fall a little bit this weekend. We'll take that. 82 for our high today, and overnight low of actually 59. Sunny tomorrow and a high of 83, and Sunday a high of 81. We could see some afternoon or evening storms pop up, but aside from that, that's the only rain we're looking at for this weekend. Currently 67 on the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is defensive lineman Alex Hunley, and you're listening to Home of the Gamecocks 107.5.
I tell you what, something got messed up in the log. I would say at this point, just do the absolute glass when he come back in, just because something got messed up. So he can just do it here. And then you guys get into your thing.
Heating and Cooling. Brian's Heating and Cooling, where they take your comfort personally. Give them a call for all your commercial and residential comfort needs. 803-796-1788 or briansheatingandcooling.com.
Antoine Juice breaks away at the
Do you want me to do it straight in after he's done, or you want to set it up?
for it. Call it. Touchdown, Carolina.
Football Friday on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Welcome back into the 7 o'clock hour. Hopefully you've been with us. If you're just joining us now, we appreciate you. This is Georgia Week. We have some montages. We've been talking trash. We're wearing sunglasses in the studio. We got all kinds of things going on, and we'll get to that all in a second. But first, let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshields, no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. So if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Bennett. Touchdown, South Carolina. With 2 seconds to go.
Deuce Staley is going to score from 51 yards.
Carter, big interception. Dennis Quinn, second.
Goes to the end zone and taken away for a touchdown, and that is Brian Scott. I mean, the defensive back was there to make the interception.
Slides over to the near sideline. Ace drops one, picks it up at the 30, 35. Ace with a move up the middle. Another at the 50. Open space for Ace. He can't get him at the 30. At the 20, got one man to beat. 10-5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Ace Sanders.
Nathan Theus will snap it. Erickson puts it down, and he skimmed it. Oh, my.
Wow. Into coverage and picked off. Mukwama down the near sideline. At the 30, at the 20. Run, Mukwama. In the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina. Take that, Georgia. Blankenship looks, nods, says he's ready to take it to third overtime. Kicks it up. And no good. That's it. He missed it. And the Gamecocks win it in Athens in second overtime. Carolina takes down number 3, Georgia. They win it 20-17. It's a fake by the Gamecocks. Melvin Ingram left side. He's running across the 40, 45. Georgia territory inside the 30. Big Melvin inside the 15. 10. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown, Melvin Ingram. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. No
68
flags.
yards,
No
Tommy.
flags.
Some of the best moments in South Carolina, Georgia, the last 31 years. Obviously, you can go further back. You can go, we had Kerry Tharp on yesterday. He mentioned the Robert Brooks game in 87. You can go back, George Rogers and Herschel Walker in 1980. I don't know, Preston, I'll go back to this, what we've talked about, how nostalgic people are, because it is weird. I will tell you, when in whatever month it was, June, I think, when they put out the opponents for South Carolina for the 2024 season, I saw that no Georgia, and I kind of thought, yeah, good, no Georgia. It's cool. It's a little different. Alabama, fine, good. That's basically replacing Georgia. Maybe you'd even rather go to Alabama. Shoot, the way Alabama's kind of looked last week, you'd probably rather go to Alabama next year than Georgia. But you know what? Here we are sitting Friday before the game week. And yeah, South Carolina's a 27.5-point underdog. The last 3 games have been awful to watch. The COVID year, 2021 Beamer's first year, and last year they've been brutal since South Carolina pulled the upset in 2019. But you're right. There's a nostalgia that I've grown up. I'm 41. You're 41. You've played in this thing. You've played in some memorable games. There's a nostalgia to this game that, yeah, I know it's only 1, maybe 2 years max that South Carolina and Georgia will not play each other. But yeah, now I'm kind of being like, oh,
yeah,
come back.
Yeah.
Can we fix it? Do we have to have Missouri on the schedule next year?
Yeah, right.
Can we get you? I know it's a harder game. I know Georgia's tougher. Can we get, I'm kind of with you as I sit here as we do this, because it'll kind of stink next year not building up to this one, because we've seen so many great moments.
Again, like I said, it's a wonderful game. It's a barometer for us as a fan base. We always sort of look at the Georgia game. Me personally, my brother is a Georgia fan, so my text has been lighting up with Georgia Bulldog memes this week. Shout out to you, Corey. I love you, but not on Saturday. It's just it really is great. Think about this time. I think it was whenever the 2000s was, and I think this perfectly encapsulates this game. We had a cornerback named Dante Robinson, who was from Athens, Georgia.
Right.
Georgia had a cornerback named Tim Jennings, who was from Orangeburg, South Carolina. And it was just, that's always going to be, there's some of our guys that go there. Some of their guys come here, and it's always just this, man, if I would have went there, I would have went there. And there's always this sort of very, very close, especially during recruiting. There's always, everybody knows everybody a little bit. Not as much as Clemson, but there is still very much a familiarity with these two teams.
South Carolina and Georgia, and Clemson and Georgia, actually recruit against each other more than South Carolina and Clemson, because in this state, by and large, you kind of are one way or the other. Generally speaking, very rarely do you have kind of a Blake Franks situation where it's South Carolina or Clemson. More often than not, a player has chosen his path with whichever in-state school, and then if it's a big-time player, you're competing against a Georgia or against a Florida or occasionally a North Carolina. Because if you think about it, like for Marcus Lattimore, it came down to South Carolina or Auburn. Again, you can kind of go through Jadeveon Clowney. I know Clemson got involved, but it was still really either Alabama or South Carolina. You did have the Stephon Gilmore, Devontae Holloman type days there. But yeah, generally speaking, it's most players have kind of made that decision. Okay, it's either South Carolina or Clemson, and then I'm looking out of state. And we've kind of seen that in the past. Channing Tindall was another one that really came down to South Carolina or Georgia, and obviously went to Georgia. So you've seen that more times. Again, Cliff Matthews is another one. Probably was going to commit to Georgia. They somehow convinced him, hey, hold off, don't commit just yet. And then they were able to flip him and get him to commit. I think it was like right after the Auburn game in 2006, I believe. So yeah, generally speaking, the recruiting isn't like that. It's more, and you have more recruiting battles and ties with the University of Georgia. Let me ask this, because I see this on our DC says this on our live stream. You can go to youtube.com, search 1075 the game. He says all the pressure is on Georgia. That's true. But in the locker room, do you feel that? Does players feel, does Georgia tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon go, oh, we're number one, we're 27.5 points? Like, is there a level of pressure that they legitimately feel to start the game?
Not to start the game, but if you think about to that 2019 game, as the game goes on, you can sort of start to feel that pressure build. Think about that as that game went on. There was another interception. Same thing with the Quincy Carter game. They probably felt the pressure, but things start building, and this old adage, you let them hang around. Yes, I do think there is something to that, to when you're the favorite team and things are starting to happen that are not going your way, whether that's pressure building on you or other team gaining confidence, there is something that changes. And it's awesome to be in a stadium when you can sort of feel.
Can you? I mean,
you can feel it. It's sort of changing, like, oh, this is getting, they like to refer to it as the lemon booty. Everybody gets a little bit tighter. Everybody's like, oh boy, this is going to be, we might be in for more than we bargained for this game. And yeah, I definitely think you can feel that as the game. At the start of the game, nah, it's just a regular game. But as things kind of start, maybe an early fumble, early interception, missed field goal, or something, silly things like that happen, you can start to feel that.
Where do you think South Carolina has to get this tomorrow to make them feel it, to make them look around and go, oh, where maybe Carson Beck is making his first SEC start, and now all of a sudden he's starting to feel a little bit. He starts to see ghosts of Georgia past from the last 2 years going, I got to live up to that.
Yeah, you got to. This is a very low bar, I think, but you got to get it to halftime within maybe 10 points. And I know that is a low bar, but obviously with the spread being what it is, I think if you get it to halftime within maybe one score or 10 points, at least Georgia feels like something could change. Maybe two scores with South Carolina getting the ball. Spencer maybe had some success over the top or things of that nature. Then you can start to feel that. But if it's not that, they won't feel that.
803-404-6100. I'll read this and then we'll hit the break. I'll get your take real quick. So as anonymous texter, I'd love to see the reaction of the greatest high school coaches in the history of South Carolina. Coach McKissick, Coach Babb, Coach Varner, if their quarterback came out with a big chain on. You've played for one of those.
Shout out to you, John McKissick. We couldn't come out of the locker room without our socks pulled up to our knees, so that was not going to happen.
We'll get you and Chris Deering's take on that, the high school highlights of the week. Yeah, you coming out, chain around your neck, John McKissick sends you back in, or is your playing career done?
You probably not going to play very long after that. Not going to happen.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. Again, I always welcome you in Myrtle Beach, 100.3, Florence, 100.5, and, of course, here in the Midlands, 107.5 The Game. You're listening to the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Zero res. Zero res. Zero res.
3.5 The Game in Florence.
Football season is upon us. Keeping a house nice and clean can be a little difficult unless you've got Zero Res. With their patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep the carpets, the rugs, the upholstery, to keep everything very clean. And let's be honest, it's that time of the year where the kids are tracking back in dirt from football practice, maybe soccer, all kinds of things are taking place, and you trying to keep the house clean can be extremely difficult, but you can make it easy. Just contact Zerorez, 803-262-4020, or schedule online. ZerorezColumbia.com is how you can do that. Take advantage of the fall sale. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. So again, schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. And again, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Plus text and title with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for details. This month at JT's Dodgeland on Greystone, new Rams slashed up to $11,000. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Chargers and Challengers slashed up to $5,000. Zero down. No payments till next year. Shaky credit, don't sweat it. JT can say yes. Savings up to $11,000. Zero down and no payments till next year. Dodgeland on Greystone, JT'sDodge.com. Ram Power Days.
Hey, this is Terry Ford with 107.5 The Game.
Whoa. You're not Terry Ford from 107.5 The Game. Are you even looking at the script, Brian
okay,
Glenn?
my bad. You go.
And first of all, you don't want to be Terry Ford from 107.5 The Game.
Fair enough.
Okay, who are you?
This is Brian Glenn with Village Idiot Pizza. At the Village Idiot, we're proud to offer 3 locally owned Columbia locations serving fresh New York-style pizza for over 30 years. Join us for a game or just to hang with friends. Pizza, wings, and cold beer are the best way to come together and celebrate life. Don't be an idiot. Eat local with the Village Idiot.
Hunting season is here, and that means ATV season at Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Honda ATVs are tough, reliable, and the only choice for outdoorsmen who want the best ATV for their hard-earned dollar. Come shop Honda Ranchers, Rubicons, Foremans, and Recons. 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, automatic, manual, they have them all. The new 2024 models are arriving weekly. Come see for yourself. Take exit 70 off I-20. Turn by the Flying J. CarolinaHonda.com. Honda recommends utility ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all riders take a training course. Did you know State Credit Union offers an excellent online and mobile banking platform? Check your balances, transfer funds, apply for a loan, and pay bills when it's convenient for you. Not a member yet? Joining is easy. Visit them online to learn more. SCSCU.com. That's SCSCU.com. State Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life
hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today. It's what the Legion's all about. From blood drives to distributing food, from responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Really have a great Friday morning as far as traffic is concerned. We don't really have any major backups. No accidents to speak of right now. So we'll take that and run with it. 82 for the high today. Our overnight low of 59. Saturday looks great. 83 for the high under mostly sunny skies. Overnight low of 64. Possibility of some rain coming in the afternoon or evening on Sunday. High of 81. But I'll tell you what, it's looking pretty nice. A little bit breezy this morning, and it is 67 at the early game.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
.717 on a beautiful Friday morning. There's finally a little fall in the air. It is really, really, really feeling like football weather if you're walking outside this morning. I think the low tonight is supposed to be hovering right around 60, 59 degrees. I mean, for all those extremely hot days, this is a great, great feeling day. And tonight, high school football, finally we get away from those steamy, muggy, awful nights, and you're going to really be able to get out and enjoy it. And joining us now is the man who knows all about it, Chris Deering with Prep Red Zone Network. Follow him on Twitter at cdeering82. Chris, welcome in. Welcome to a Friday that actually feels like a nice fall football Friday.
Feels like fall a little bit, Bill, and man, we got a great schedule across the state tonight. I know college football don't have any top 25 matchups this week, but high school football in the state is not lacking in big time matchups all the way from the upstate to here in the Midlands to over in the PD area down to Charleston. There's a lot of good matchups this week in high school football.
Well, let's start with what looks like to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, the matchup of the night in the state, South Florence and South Point. What's your take there?
Well, again, it's a great lineup tonight, and that's one of the top games. South Florence, the defending state champion, they are not ranked number one in 4A anymore. That title goes to Hartsville, and I think that's well deserved. And South Point is right there in the top, 5 as well. South Florence is in the top 5. You can find the pecking order in Class 4A settled a lot after tonight. You got that game, and you also got another one over in the PD, Irmo traveling over to Hartsville. So I expect to see we've seen some what I call interstate scores a lot this season where, you get 55, 60, 70 points scored by some teams. I expect to see a lot closer things tonight, and I think you can see that in South Florence, South Point.
Here in town, you've got a fun little matchup, Brooklyn, Casey, and Chapin.
Yeah, I mean, we hadn't talked much about Chapin, but they're 3-1 on the season. Their quarterback, Brady Albros, thrown for almost 1,000 yards already, 12 touchdowns. Brooklyn Casey coming off their first loss last week to AC Flora. They're still ranked in 3A though. Chapin's trying to make some noise in 5A. So we'll see what happens in that one. That's usually always a very competitive, close game between those two programs, and I sort of expect the same tonight.
Oh, let's give old Preston Thorne and the green and gold a little love. Sumter and Summerville. Those two names they scream South Carolina high school football. Sumter and Summerville tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, another top 10 matchup in the 5A ranks. This may be Summerville's toughest test of the season so far. Sumter is coming off a loss to Crestwood last week. That's no shame, though, because Crestwood's a really good program. So I do think, Sumter's got to go over to Flowertown and see what they can do in Summerville, and I think that's going to be another close matchup. If that one's a blowout, I'll be a little bit surprised. So I'm expecting a great day in high school football, and you're hitting on almost every one of them so far. I mean, there's just up and down the state, there's just great matchups all over the place.
Oh, let's come back to the Midlands. We just mentioned Preston's alma mater. Let's give my alma mater a shout out. Dustin Curtis, 4-0. Lexington's rolling along. And this was a game that was never played 23 years ago when I was in school. But Gilbert under Chad Leapart, who, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I just saw Chad Leapart become the all-time winningest coach at Gilbert. Am I late to that or catch a late article? Huh?
Just recently happened. Yeah, he's the all-time winningest coach now at Gilbert, and he's brought that program to heights they've never really seen. And again, I'm going to suggest on this one, if you want to go to Gilbert America tonight, I suggest you start heading over there about 5 o'clock and try to get into that stadium. That's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be packed. And again, these two teams have played, like I said, 20 years ago, they didn't play each other, Bill, but it's become a pretty good rivalry. From what I understand, there's been some T-shirts made up. They're expecting big things over at Gilbert. And Lexington, number 3 in the state in 5A. We hadn't talked much about them. We touched on them a little bit. I saw them last week against Blythewood, and they looked really good. That defense they're lights out. Montrell Bird is maybe one of the most underrated players in the state. Their linebacking group is really fast. And Taden Mines is we talked about him. Taden Mines is playing well at quarterback, and he's got a number 1 target now in Brandon Cromer. I mean, I know everybody associates him with baseball being a South Carolina commit, but Brandon Cromer can definitely play football as well.
Yeah, me, the kids and I, or my daughter, of course, for those who don't know, cheers in the 8th grade for Gilbert Middle School. So we are actually going to the beach tonight. So what we've agreed upon is the winner of that, the loser of that game has to buy dinner tomorrow night. Now that's the 14-year-old and 11-year-old. So I'm feeling I'll be buying dinner either way. But yeah, there'll be a little trash talk. Kids go to Gilbert. I went to Lexington. And so there'll be a little trash talk. And if Lexington wins, nobody will want to see me out at Gilbert America next Wednesday night when she cheers out there again. 2 names in this state that, again, I mentioned Summerville and Sumter. Chris, when you mentioned Northwestern and Gaffney, again, that's high school football in this state.
That right there might be the game of the night. With everything we've already talked about, that one might actually be the game of the night. Both of them have a loss this year. To out-of-state teams, but I'm gonna tell you at the end, Northwestern's gonna be there in 4A. They were state runner-ups last year, and this Gaffney team is much improved from last year. They weren't bad last year, but they're much improved. Their quarterback Riley Staten has been playing really well, and he's got weapons around him. And again, I can't stress how good this weekend is going to be in high school sports and football tonight. It even trickles into tomorrow with Great Collegiate going up to Washington to play St. John's. But again, atmospheres tonight. The weather's a little cool. It feels like football. no home game for South Carolina. Get out and support these kids because tonight is going to be, just like I say, all across the state, fantastic matchup.
Let's give a little love to this. We don't mention it, but a battle of unbeatens. Wagner Sally versus Hunter Kiner Tyler tonight. HKT 3-0 Wagner Sally, 4-0 HKT.
I'm pretty sure both of those are ranked in Class A. Yeah, that's a big time matchup as well. I was actually looking at, there is a site out there that gives point spreads on high school
Are you
games.
serious?
I'm serious. I'm 100% serious. I was looking at that this morning, and I think that's like a 5-point spread, 6 points. I'm looking at it right now. I don't know much about the players on either one of those teams, but again, I think that's going to be another. Again, it's a top 10 matchup, and to have so many of those in the same week, it's just unbelievable to me. We don't start region play yet for the most part. Region 4, 2A, and the teams around this area, Keenan and Fairfield Central and those guys, they start region play tonight, but everybody else is not in the region play yet. But these teams are making the most of these last few non-region games, and that's what it's all about. You want to start hitting your peak now about this time of season.
Paulie weighs in this morning. His, I guess, Branchville, because last week he asked about Branchville versus Williston. Now Branchville versus Edisto tonight. Your take on that?
Branchville and Edisto. To be honest, I don't know much about either one of those teams.
Okay, we're just trying to appease the people out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for the point spread on that one.
Oh, of course. Let's get. Well, let me jump to another one then. While you're doing that, let's go. We've covered Preston's alma mater. We've covered my alma mater. I mean, it's our segment. Let's give your alma mater a little bit of love. The Berkeley Stags are 3-1. Who was their only loss to? I'm drawing a blank.
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
They take on Fort Dorchester tonight. How you like that one?
Well, believe it or not, that's where I'm going tonight. We don't have a writer down in the Charleston area, and we decided to let's go down there for a game. And I told them, if I'm going, to give me a little bit of a nugget and let me cover the Berkeley Stags, and they agreed to that. So I think this was a good matchup. Berkeley again is a bunch of young pups, and they're starting to grow up a little bit. Just touching on this real quick. Last week they were down 31-14 with about 6 minutes to go, and ended up winning the game 40-31. They got 2 onside kicks, and then Pooch kicked it 2 times after that, and Ashley Ridge fumbled all four kickoffs, and Berkeley recovered it and was able to score touchdowns. So these kids don't quit. They didn't quit against Somerville a few weeks ago. I mean, it was a blowout loss, but they kept playing well into the fourth quarter. Fort Dorchester's only played 2 games so far. They're 1-1, and had a cancellation and had a bye week already. So Fort D's looking to get on track before region play starts. I expect a good atmosphere down for that one. And nice to get down to see the Berkeley Stags play at least once a year.
We don't mention Ben Lippen much here, but they're 3-1 in the season. They'll host undefeated Porter-Gaud tonight.
Yeah, that's a big time matchup in Skeeza. So we don't talk about the Skeeza teams too much, but Ben Lippen's got a transfer quarterback over, and he's been lights out. He's been called like a baby Cam Newton. Big 6'5" kid, and he's played well. And Porter-Gaud they're back to being, I think one of the premier Skeeza teams in the state. They were that level a few years back and sort of fell off, but I think they're back. They might be the top challenger to Hammond in the Skeeza ranks in 4A now, but I expect that to be a good game. That one's here locally. I'm pretty certain at Ben Lippen.
Chris, that was a lot that we covered in it. You're right. It's a great night in high school, and look forward to it, and hope you enjoy the Berkeley Stags and Fort Dorchester tonight. Follow him on Twitter at cdeering82. Check out all the great work on PrepRedZoneNetwork.com. Man, have fun tonight. Have fun with the weather. Have fun at the games, and look forward to having you back next week.
Sounds good. Y'all great. You guys have a great weekend, and let's do it again next Friday.
We will.
Appreciate it,
Thank
Chris.
you. Safe travels. 803-404-6100, and I'll remind everybody out my way, Lexington and Gilbert. Go Wildcats. Go Dustin Curtis. Take down the Indians tonight. Allow me to brag, run my mouth to my children all weekend. Just put them down, talk trash. If you think Gamecock Larry talks trash, you should hear what I'm going to say to my kids if Lexington can take down Gilbert tonight. We'll come back. DJ Durkin was a hot name.
Yeah.
And maybe not much longer. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Catch the Love Chevy
Yeah, AAA first, and then I'll tell you when to come in for old timey.
and Ed Bird this Friday at 9 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The weather is turning just a little bit, and that means it's time to start thinking about your heating unit. That's right. I've been talking about the air conditioning unit for the last 3 months because, woof, it's been hot. Well, guess what? It could be a little chilly coming up in the night. You might even want to turn your heat on. Well, that means it's time to contact AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. Get them out to your house, do a little maintenance, get some inspection done. Make sure your heating unit is ready to handle the winter because there's nothing worse than waking up in the middle of the night and the heat being out and your house being in the mid-50s. Trust me, it's happened. Nobody will like you in your house. Contact AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. You want to tell them you heard it here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. AAA Heating and Air right now. Make sure you check out the Inflation Reduction Act. You could save up to $3,800 in tax credits by purchasing a new unit. Call AAA Heating and Air today to learn more. 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
The Mega Millions jackpot for Friday is $162 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. CSCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Plus, text and title with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. I'm so excited to tell you about the sale this month at JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. New Jeep slashed up to $10,000. Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, Gladiator. New Ram slashed up to $11,000. Quad Cab, Crew Cab, Heavy Duty. Zero down, no payments till next year. Shaky credit, don't sweat it. Savings to $11,000. Zero down and no payments till next year. 378 in Lexington, JT'sJeepRam.com. Jeep Adventure Days.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's a $7,500 sign-on bonus and increased pay for most security positions. Start a rewarding new career with great benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply now or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Business owners, this is South Carolina quarterback Spencer Rattler. The Garnet Trust is connecting businesses like yours with athletes like me through NIL deals. Head over to garnettrust.com or 1075thegame.com to find out you can leverage the power of an athlete endorsement to grow your business.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen. You want an exciting and fast-paced podcast based on one of the most popular segments in the history of The Rich Eisen Show? Well, you got it. Overreaction Monday, hosted by me, Rich Eisen, and my compadre, Chris Brockman. And every Monday, we're going to dive into the headlines from pro and college football and overreact. Are you ready, Chris Brockman? Yay or nay?
Yes, Rich. No holding back, buddy. I'm coming for you.
Absolutely what you need to hear. Overreaction Monday, every single, wait for it, Monday, wherever you listen.
If you're heading out to Gilbert tonight and you're a Lexington fan, there's only one way to go and tailgate, and that's to start by stopping by Old Timey Meat Market. Of course, in Lexington, you can go by their store. Maybe if you're in Irmo, you want to go by the St. Andrews location, or if you're in South Congaree, they have a location as well. There's no better way to start your weekend than with a great selection of meats, whether it's beef, pork, poultry. You can find some great fish. Maybe you just want snacks. They have incredible chicken salad. Bought some buffalo chicken dip from there as well last week. I'm telling you what, whatever you're looking for your weekend tailgate, whether you're at the game or doing it at the house, Old Timey Meat Market has got you taken care of. So go by one of the three locations today, South Congaree, St. Andrews and Irmo, or at the Lexington location. You won't be disappointed. Best prices available, best cuts of meat, and the absolute best butcher in town. So go visit Old Timey Meat Market today. Stop by, get the meat for the weekend, and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Certainly do not want to jinx things, but man, it's been a nice morning. Not a lot of traffic out there for some reason, and no major slowdowns, no accidents to report. So we hope it stays that way for you this morning. 82 for our high today, overnight low of 59. 83 for your high tomorrow, under mostly sunny skies. On Sunday now, we could see maybe an afternoon or evening storm, and looking for a high of 81, but really low to mid 80s all next week. So enjoying these a little bit milder temperatures. 67 right now with the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Off and running, 7:35 on your Friday morning. Football Friday morning. And I tell you what, Chris Deering, thank you to him for joining us. Sounds like an incredible slate of games due out on the high school ranks this weekend, and it should be a lot of fun as we get into, as Jen just mentioned, great weather this weekend, and that'll lead us into tomorrow. And an interesting SEC slate of games. LSU and Mississippi State at noon. Kansas State at Missouri. Kind of a big game for Missouri there. That game in Missouri. That will be on the SEC Network at noon. Of course, you know about the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs, and we'll talk more about that coming up. Alabama traveling to South Florida tomorrow night. Tennessee at Florida, 7 o'clock. We'll look at that a little bit more. Samford and Auburn. Vanderbilt. Preston Thorne's Vanderbilt team,
my guys,
at UNLV. You do have a Georgia Tech at Ole Miss game. A sneaky, interesting one, BYU and Arkansas and Akron and Kentucky. One team I left out of there comes off a rough weekend in Coral Gables. Texas A&M. Now, we've talked a lot about Bobby Petrino and the dynamics of Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher. Preston, you came across an article yesterday on defensive coordinator DJ Durkin, who was a guy that I, back in the day, after he got in some trouble at Maryland, was hoping I would see Will Muschamp bring him on staff here. I've always liked DJ Durkin as a coach. Don't know anything about him as a human being, but as a coach. However, DJ Durkin is not exactly lighting the defensive coordinating world on fire.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I think the article is titled, it was on Gig'em 247, and the article is titled, Why It Should Not Be Surprising That Texas A&M Has Struggled Defensively Under Coordinator DJ Durkin, which kind of lays out the whole issue. But I thought it was just interesting because what happens and what we seem to be do with coaches is once they get a name, they keep it. And so if you were hot, see DJ Durkin in 2013, then in 2024, everybody's like, yeah, well, DJ Durkin, he's a good DC. We should try and get him. And sometimes that just does not pan out. This article goes in very stringent detail about how essentially DJ Durkin has not been good as a defensive coordinator since 2016. And when you start adding those numbers, that's 8 years ago, as far as being a premier defensive coordinator. Not to mention his failures as a program and what happened with him at Maryland, but he just has not been statistically any good. Below average, not even good. He's been below average.
Obviously, Texas A&M, we've talked about Georgia coming off schedule next year. Texas A&M will be on the schedule again next year for the Gamecocks, be here in Columbia. It is interesting because you're seeing a college football program throw all the money in the world that they can trying to win a championship. And I think the pressure is on Texas A&M even more now with Texas about to show up in conference and basically shove little brother aside, if you will. But with that being said, Texas A&M, again, they'll play Louisiana Monroe 4 o'clock tomorrow. That game will be on the SEC Network. But you look at what's coming down the pipe after that. Auburn and Hugh Freeze next week. That game's at least in College Station. Arkansas in their game in Jerry World. Alabama, then Tennessee on the road. I think this would be great, but the one caveat is they have a bye week before South Carolina comes there. But you look at this, you look at what's happening. They should win tomorrow, big favorite. I don't put it past them to lose to Auburn. I don't put it past them to lose to Arkansas. I don't see them beating Alabama or Tennessee. I mean, this is a team that could very well be in a very similar situation that they were last year, broken, fan base disgruntled, when South Carolina goes to College Station on October 28th.
And to that point, DJ has sort of been able to skate underneath the radar because of Jimbo's shortcomings, Bobby Petrino coming to town. The rest of us, I'm sure Texas A&M fans have been keyed in on this, but the rest of us, we've sort of just let this slide. And even when I thought about, I also get into this idea of, these guys just go from pillar to post in the SEC. They just go from here to there, the next stop. Thinking about career lifers like Mike Bobo, Will Muschamp. I think there was an article saying he was the most SEC of anybody who could ever be SEC. And sometimes these guys, they might have been good at one point, but they're not good anymore. And I think that's because you think about DJ Durkin. Does Texas A&M have the talent to be a good defense? Absolutely. Every year we talk about how they have all these 5 stars running around there. And not just that, I've heard from several people, whenever you see Texas A&M come to town, you talk about the contest of getting off the bus. Who wins that? It's like Texas A&M should win that contest every single year, but they're underperforming on defense. And I just think we as fan base, we got to be smarter about if somebody was good at one time, does not mean that they are still good.
Carolina Titan weighs in on our live stream and says what Preston just said about Durkins is what I've been saying about Muschamp. Muschamp's supposed to be this great defensive mind, but the Gamecock defense was horrible under him.
I think there's something to that. Furthermore, Muschamp's defensive coordinator, Travarius Robinson, he was a hot name at one point. Everywhere he's been, their defense has not been good. You see Alabama, you see what's been happening with their secondary the past couple of times. They haven't been good. Miami hasn't been good. I'm just telling you, coaches should have to earn their reputations on a yearly basis. Can't be hot once, and then for the rest of the 10 years, he says, oh, yeah, that's a good defense.
I started laughing because if you didn't see the SEC shorts this weekend, it was a pretty good little episode that they did, and one of it is the guy complaining they're going to the Grim Reaper's house and basically say, did you see it, Jen?
I did.
And the guy who plays the Alabama fan says, Quinn Ewers is throwing touchdowns with moon balls like he teed him up with a sandwich.
Listen, man, that's all I'm saying is let's just continuously evaluate these coaches. Let's not just make sure that you just say, oh, yeah, he must have been on that staff. He's a great coach. DJ Durkin has not been a good coach as a defensive coordinator since 2016. On all of these categories, they go scoring defense, total defense, passing efficiency. All of these categories, his averages are, and I'm not going to get into all the parts of the article, but this article does a great job. But clearly by the numbers, DJ Durkin is inadequate as a defensive coordinator at this point in his career.
Real quick, South Carolina doesn't play Texas A&M for a long time. South Carolina's got much bigger fish to fry this weekend and a much tougher opponent. But I want to go back to that article that you just mentioned because obviously we talked about the offensive line. If you look down the line at Texas A&M, against Miami, Texas A&M only generated pressure on Tyler Van Dyke 7 out of 32 attempts. That was just 21.9%. They missed 10 tackles also in that game, and they surrendered 10 gains of 15 yards or plus, 4 gains of 30 yards or plus. There's your numbers you're talking about with Texas A&M defensively.
Jimbo Fisher gave DJ Durkin an endorsement. I want you to listen to this endorsement that he gave him. He knows as much football as anybody.
Oh, boy, that's the start. When you know as much football. I feel like I heard that about a certain offensive coordinator around here. I'm guilty as anybody of saying that,
Anytime
too, by the way.
you hear somebody talk about how much football somebody knows, they're probably not doing a great job. But let's continue. He does a really good job. We've just got to execute, and we've got to get the calls, put them in the right thing, and get the right matchup for our guys. What is a defensive coordinator's job except but to get the calls, make them execute, put them in the right position? So it doesn't matter how much you know. If you can't get your guys to do any of these things, you, sir, are not a good defensive coordinator. It's pretty clear.
803-404-6100, how you can
Got about 20 seconds.
this morning. Remember our search for an XFL expert?
Did we find one?
Well, I've got one even better. Nick Stratton, good buddy of mine, is our Rugby World Cup expert, and he weighs in and says, can't believe you guys haven't mentioned the tournament host and world number 3, France, almost lost to Uruguay yesterday.
About 10 seconds.
He's joking, but we'll come back. We'll look at a few other SEC games and wrap up hour number 2. You're listening to The Early Game.
Here's what's coming up on The Game.
Take a trip into the vault with Tommy Moody. Wednesday and Friday evenings at 6 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Some final thoughts on week 1 of the NFL season. I do agree with Philly coach Nick Sirianni that it's time to rethink resting starters in preseason. Just look how inconsistent so many offenses were. The first month of the regular season has become the real preseason. That's when coaches truly get to know their teams and rosters and forge their true identities. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
WeatherGuard, the name that stands for unmatched security in truck boxes, is now making a name for itself on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. WeatherGuard is the official sponsor of the safety and security work crews at Speedway Motorsports tracks across the country. Engineered to meet the demands from job sites to race sites, WeatherGuard truck boxes feature double welded seams, weather-tight seals, and high security latches and locks. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Learn more at weatherguard.com/truck.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life Matters. The bookstore owner once told me about an irate customer who bought a book, then returned it the next day, saying he'd been greatly misled. The customer, it seems, was emotionally disjointed and relationally challenged. He bought a book entitled How to Hug, thinking it was just the thing to help him express his feelings. Reverend, he said, you can just imagine how disappointed he was to get home and discover he hadn't bought a book on hugging at all, but simply volume 9 of the encyclopedia, the volume covering How to Hug. Well, by this time, I knew I was being told a tall tale, but I wonder how many times we seek help with life's issues but wind up disappointed. There is one book, however, that has stood the test of time. Give it a chance, and you'll find the Bible is more up to date than you think. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life. Remember, friend, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Plus text and title to approve. Credit call 888-320-6359 for details. This month at JT's Kia, you can get a brand new Kia without a penny out of your pocket. No payments till next year. Right now at JT's Kia. New 2023 Kias from $19,990. Forte, Sorento, Telluride. JT sells more because he saves you more. Nobody beats JT. New Kias from $19,990. Not a penny out of your pocket. No payments till next year. I-77 and Killian Road, jtskia.com.
What you're talking about.
On 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. No hassles, no all-day runarounds, no ridiculous add-on stickers. At Love Chevy, buying a car is fun. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Would you like 38 craft beers for $99? Well, just go to 1075thegame.com, look on the right-hand side, and click on Sweet Deals to get more information.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
I think that we didn't play great. So, people get upset that we get criticized. But why wouldn't we get criticized if we don't play well? I mean, people call me and say, hey, man, this guy's a jerk for, saying this about you. No, he really isn't. I mean, it's right. We didn't play good. I'm responsible for that.
Nick Saban.
Look at my leader.
Taking full responsibility. They got beat.
My
They got
guy.
beat 34-24. Wasn't even, they physically, I said last week, and couldn't have been more wrong. And I just want to point out, we have not heard from Roll Tide Todd all week. Our resident Alabama fan has just completely disappeared off the face of the earth. But I said last week I thought Alabama would beat them up physically, would win that game. I thought it would be 24-10, something in that ballpark. But instead, it was Texas A&M that took the fight to him and Quinn Ewers. Alabama tomorrow, 3:30, ABC game. They travel down to South Florida. They'll win the game. But is Alabama scary right now? Is Alabama still the monster, the juggernaut like that you've seen?
No, they're not. And I think you can look, and we're not going to be able to know right now, but I think maybe 2 or 3 years when you start seeing how many of those guys or where those guys end up in the NFL drafts. I think they may have been as deficient last year, but they were just covered up by Bryce Young because he was tremendous. They were probably at the same level, but they just had one guy who could erase a lot of mistakes, and Jalen Milroe's not that guy this year. No disrespect. Of course, it's no disrespect if you're not the number one pick in the draft. That's not saying anything wrong about you, but he's just not Bryce Young.
Look, Alabama's still as talented, if not, or definitely more talented than the vast majority of the schedule. Now, next week, they get Mississippi at home. And, Mississippi is Lane Kiffin, that they've got things going for them. They turned it on there in the second half against Tulane and pulled away. They'll get Georgia Tech tomorrow night. They'll be undefeated when they go to Alabama next week. But you look at the schedule and you just go, yeah, these aren't the given W's that typically you would have said in the past for the Crimson Tide. When you get beat by Texas, and I don't know, we'll get into it. But I think as we go into next week, we start really looking at, all right, who's back and who's not. And then we start to really analyze, is Texas back? Is Miami truly back? As you start to look at these particular teams. But it's hard for me not to see them losing when you play Mississippi, you play Tennessee, you play LSU. Now, the good thing is they get all these games at home, Preston, but it's hard not to see them stumbling one more time somewhere.
Yeah, especially if they don't get that secondary fixed. I mean, and that's Nick Saban's baby, so I'm sure he's going to be spending an extra amount of time. Talk about a tough job being the secondary coach under Nick Saban. Not a great gig, because talk about being micromanaged and where you're going to have to really put your work in. So if they don't get that right, yeah, of course I can see them maybe stumbling again.
Also, this coming weekend, you look at the SEC schedule. I mentioned there's a little bit an interesting one. We'll get into the what I think is the two big ones: LSU, Mississippi State, and then to me the really big one, Tennessee at Florida. Tennessee has not beaten Florida in back-to-back seasons since 2003, 2004. But one other game I think that is kind of in two actually. Number one at noon tomorrow, Kansas State and Missouri. You're a guy. I know you've backed off the Dorkowitz thing for a little bit.
I've backed off, but it's coming though.
Missouri snuck by Middle Tennessee State last week, 23-19. And, Brady Cook is still playing quarterback, 14 of 19 last week for 204 and 2 touchdowns. That was a game in which, again, Middle Tennessee State scored kind of late to close it up. It was 23-10, but Missouri got pushed a little bit. And now you get Kansas State coming in. Missouri loses this game. It just feels like one they typically lose, right?
Yes.
They lose it, and then we go, oh, Missouri's an average team, and then they beat South Carolina. We're like, oh, wait a minute, how did we lose that game?
That's how the regular college football script plays out. I haven't laid eyes on Missouri at all this year. Have you?
No, watching them play South Dakota and Middle Tennessee State was not on the top of my agenda the first 2 weeks.
So I don't know. We'll see what that has. I don't really know much about Missouri, and that seems to be the typical conversation that we have until they show up and they somehow miraculously beat us. So I'll keep my eye on it, especially as that game approaches. But that does seem like a typical game that they usually drop.
Arkansas last year they were the darling. Yeah, remember last year we were all at SEC Media Day and people were predicting big things. KJ Jefferson, Sam Pittman was the guy. Kendall Briles was the next up-and-coming offensive coordinator. They're flying under the radar this year. BYU comes in. BYU's 2-0. They beat Sam Houston 14-0 and then thumped Southern Utah. So BYU in their first year in the Big 12. Remember, BYU in the Big 12 now. So this is a Big 12 SEC matchup similar to Texas, Alabama last week. But Preston, Arkansas tomorrow night, 7:30 game, ESPN2. That's another one that I think for Sam Pittman, he has to win. Not that he's going to get fired, but people are starting to go, oh, wait, you're not the Sam Pittman that went 9-4 and said, turn that jukebox on.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase is over for them. He's going to have to really show up, and they're going to have to decide whether or not he's the guy that they want leading them into the future. I think he is. I am obviously a Sam Pittman fan. He had the hot tub playlist in the summer. That was my thing. But he's going to have to win some ball games in order to keep that going.
Those are two, again, Big 12 SEC matchups. I know it sounds odd to say BYU, Big 12, but
BYU's always good.
Two Big 12 SEC matchups, Kansas State and Missouri, BYU at Arkansas, the SEC's hosted. SEC needs to win some non-conference games, by the way. They just
developing story.
We'll get into that a little bit when we make some picks. Coming up next, we'll get into the injury report, hour 3 on the way. It is that time of year where you probably like to have a few parties, have people over, watch football games, whether it's Saturday, whether it's Sunday. Not only do people come over and make a mess, but you might have some kids or some animals that make a mess. And with the Zero Res patented ZR water technology, not only will it keep your house looking clean, it'll keep the carpets, the rugs, the upholstery all exceptionally clean, but they do it with leaving no residue, no soapy, sticky residue behind. And it's safe for the pets to roll around on, for the kids to roll around on, to watch football or watch the cartoons on when they're laying on the floor. Zero Res makes sure your house not only is clean, but safe with their ZR water technology. So contact them today, 803-262-4020 or schedule online, zerorescolumbia.com. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Again, that's 803-262-4020 or schedule online, zerorescolumbia.com. Zero-S, spell it backwards for Fords. It's the right way to clean.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Train heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Staples has big savings on everything for school or the office. Save on school essentials like notebooks, pens, and crayons. In stock and backed by Staples Price Match Guarantee. In store only. Visit staples.com/price match for details. School on, save on at Staples.
If you're looking for the latest athletic shoe styles from famous name brands, go straight to Todd & More, your hometown sports store on 620 Hugie Street. Always the best prices and selections for everyone. Open 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday, just below the Coliseum near Blossom.
Text entitled with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for details. This month at JT's Dodge Land on Greystone, new Rams slashed up to $11,000. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Chargers and Challengers slashed up to $5,000. Zero down. No payments till next year. Shaky credit, don't sweat it. JT can say yes. Savings up to $11,000. Zero down and no payments till next year. Dodge Land on Greystone, JT'sDodge.com. Ram Power Days.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there. And even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
They came from every corner of the country, from small towns and big cities. But they all shared one thing in common. They belonged to a family called Marines. A tough and determined few dedicated to protecting everything we hold sacred.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
All right, taking a look at your traffic conditions out there this morning. We do have one accident to let you know about, and that is Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road. Aside from that, things still moving along really well. A little bit closer to fall-like temperatures, 82 for the high today. Actually going to get down to about 59 tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and looking for a high of about 83, 81 for Sunday. Sun coming back. We could see some rain on Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, but then by Monday again, sun comes out, it's 84. Right now, it's 68 on the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
What's up, y'all? This Gamecocks wide receiver Juice Wells. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station. Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
Brian's Heating and Cooling, where they take your comfort personally. Give them a call for all your commercial and residential comfort needs. 803-796-1788 or briansheatingandcooling.com.
Antoine Juice Wells breaks away at the 30, 20, going for the pylon at the 5, dives for it. Call it. Touchdown, Carolina.
Football Friday on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
8 a.m. Get up. Get your garnet and black on or your orange and purple if you're into that kind of thing. Whatever. The garnet and black, much better look on Friday.
It's just a nice look. You can wear it anytime. You don't have to have a special. It's not like you're wearing costume day or something when you're wearing those other colors.
You know, that's a really good point as far as the coloring is concerned because, people don't just say, I'm feeling orange and purpley today. But you can look like you're in business attire with garnet or black.
True.
A crisp white.
Yeah, it's not Halloween yet. People, you don't want to dress up like a pumpkin or Barney. You don't want to, Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but I guess that was what they chose. But yeah, put on your garnet and black, get up and get going. It is Gamecocks and Bulldogs this weekend, 3:30 in Athens, and it's a series that for South Carolina has been a lot of memorable moments, a lot of memorable plays. As a matter of fact, coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to be joined by one of those players who had a memorable day back in 2000. But yesterday, Tyler Head put together a montage of great moments in South Carolina, Georgia history. Sit back and enjoy and relive the good times.
Bennett, touchdown, South Carolina! With 2 seconds to go. Deuce Staley is going to score from 51 yards. Interception. Dennis Quinn second. Petty goes for the end zone and taken away for a touchdown, and that is Brian Scott. I mean, the defensive back was there to make the interception.
Slides over to the near sideline. Ace drops one, picks it up at the 30, 35. Ace with a move up the middle. Another at the 50. Open space for Ace. He can't get him at the 30. At the 20, got one man to beat. 10-5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Ace Sanders.
Nathan Theus will snap it. Erickson puts it down. Eddie skimmed it. Oh, my. Wow.
Into coverage and picked off. Mukwama down the near sideline. At the 30, at the 20. Run, Mukwama. In the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina.
Take that, Georgia.
Touchdown. Blankenship looks, nods, says he's ready to take it to the third overtime. Kicks it up. And no good. That's it. He missed it. And the Gamecocks win it in Athens in second overtime. Carolina takes down number 3, Georgia. They win it 20-17. Definitely look over the sun. It's a fake by the Gamecocks. Melvin Ingram left side. He's running across the 40, 45. Georgia territory inside the 30. Big Melvin inside the 15, 10. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Melvin Ingram. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. No
68
flag.
yards,
No
Tommy.
flag.
31 consecutive games played between the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs dating back to 1992. I was at that game as South Carolina debuted in the SEC. Just a young 10-year-old Bill Gunner starting the SEC. And Preston, you've been a part of 5 of those games, 4 as a player, 1 as a red shirt. You had 2 wins in the series, a heartbreaker in 2002. But the wins, you mentioned it. Hey, that 2000 win, the party lasted well into the night.
That was my welcome to college. And I was like, man, I made the right choice. I made the right decision. It was a tremendous night. It was one of the first times I remember scrolling. I won't say the establishment that we were at, but we were at an establishment towards the wee hours of the night, and you could see the highlights. And it was so surreal seeing, like, looking next to me, like, that's Derek Watson next to me. There's Derek Watson on TV, man. It was a wild scenario, man. It's one of the things that I'll remember forever.
What was in 2001, you had to travel back. What was the locker room like? What was the bus ride to the plane back? What was the plane ride back?
Yeah, that one was not the same feeling. It was more of a like, yeah, we came down here to do this. It was great, tremendous, and we was going to celebrate wins and losses. We was going to celebrate regardless, but it wasn't the same euphoria. It was like, oh, we're here and we deserve this win.
And then, unfortunately, you and I talked about 2002. South Carolina, y'all were expected to win. You were expected to win, and unfortunately, Andrew Pinnock fumbled in that game. David Pollock had an incredible play. We talk about looking at it from the South Carolina side and that great montage that Tyler did. Very nice, since he's kind of a Georgia guy, not to slip the Pollock play in on us. But
if anybody was in the stadium, you just remember how long that silence was between what just happened. And then the ref throws his hands up in there. It's like, what? A touchdown? And of course, we're like, there's no way. And then you see it on the day. It's like, yeah, that is a touchdown. Yeah, that one. And I would even say the 2004 game, we had them it was a very tight game. I think
we were up big. I want to say 16-0. Coach Simpson had an interception return for a touchdown.
That was Cole's breakout game. Also, right before that game is when Sidney Rice broke his hand and he wasn't able to play. We was going to unleash this thing onto the world, and that didn't happen. But that was another very, very tight game in that series. So that little error was very tight.
Tomorrow, there are injuries that you need guys to play. Juice Wells, look, having a complement. It's as crazy as it is. We're 2 games in. I thought I'd be saying Xavier Legette or Amarion Brown or somebody would need to be a complement to Juice Wells. Well, now we're kind of saying Juice Wells needs to be the complement to Xavier Legette. Can Nick Eamon-Worry play tomorrow? Last night, Shane Beamer on Carolina Calls talked about the injury situation. Who's available? Who's not available? Here's what Shane Beamer said last night in regards to the injury situation going into today's game.
I will probably take a little bit more of a mulligan with you too. David Spalding and Nick Eamon-Worry, they both practiced every day this week, and they're good to go. Are they 100%? Probably not. But Nick, actually, we've talked about before, we track speeds in practice, and Nick ran faster today than he has at any point here this summer. So he's in a good position. Both those guys, David and Nick, are key. On Saturday, we need them both. They'll both play. We were optimistic of getting Marquis Anderson and JT Gear back. They will not play, Marquis or JT. And then everyone else is still questionable. Guys that we know are definitely out. We're not taking. We're only allowed to take a certain number of guys on this trip. It used to be 70. The SEC increased it to 74 that we're able to take to SEC away games. So we'll take 74 guys, but the 74 that we're taking tomorrow are guys that, have a role and legitimately could get in the game. If you take an injured guy, that eats up one of your 74 spots. So
5.
We're not taking the guys that we know are out. And then if a guy is a game time deal that he's practiced some this week, we'll take him.
I was just laughing at the underrated aspect of, did I make the dress list or not? Because there's somebody trying to make plans, and it's like, because if you're that far back on the dress list, you're not playing. And so it's like, I want to go, but maybe I got some other plans that I'm trying to figure out for the weekend. So did I make the dress list or not is always a great game.
Okay. Did I make the dress list or not? Yeah. We talked about Nick Eamon-Worry. That's an interesting statement. He ran as fast as he had. If you were saying like, oh, okay, well, number one, if you were saying like it's a bum, elbow, or shoulder, you're like, all right, that's good. It's a hamstring. I would say if he's running as fast as he is, that's a good sign that the hamstring is healthy.
I would say that's because that's the biggest thing. Hamstring is usually you see it pulled in a sudden acceleration, trying to go from 0 to whatever very quickly. And if he's able to do that, that's fine. Now, the caveat and what we don't know is, did he run that fast because he was just running across the field as a fault? Was he running sprints or something like that? That's very different than running in a game or in a game-like situation. We don't know, but we have to take that word for it.
I do think getting David Spalding back, very underrated player on the defense, has made some plays in his time. I think that would be big. The young man, unfortunately, is kind of like a few other guys where just staying healthy has been very, very difficult for him. They've got South Carolina tomorrow, I think, stop the run. Brock Bowers is going to get his, but stop the run and force Carson Beck to utilize these weapons at wide receiver. And then it's the same approach as Tennessee. They're gonna make some plays. Get them to the ground and don't let them make the big play.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Nick Emmanwori is a huge part of stopping the run with him walking up and creating the extra man in the box, being able to sort of the only person who I think has the physical presence to match up with Brock Bowers and being in the box. His health is going to be very important for the team.
803-404-6100 if you want to join us this morning as we roll along. Up next, a teammate of Preston.
My guy.
A line mate. A guy who had 2 interceptions playing the defensive line spot in the 2000 South Carolina-Georgia game. Dennis Quinn joins us to remember old times. A walk down memory lane with 2 guys just hanging out and partying into the wee hours of the morning back in 2000 when South Carolina upset then number 9 Georgia. Former Gamecock Dennis Quinn joins the program. You're listening to the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Jay and Terry will do the afternoon show live from Todd and More Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. They'll be giving away a $50 Todd and More gift card and a Carolina prize pack.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
I tell you what, it is very difficult at times to keep the house nice and clean. You got a lot going on. Kids going to practice. You've got to actually do work. Then you're trying to have maybe watch parties. Make it easy on yourself. Use the great cleaning pros at Zerorez. 803-262-4020 or schedule online ZerorezColumbia.com. Take advantage of their fall sale right now. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. That's right, Zerorez with their patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep the carpets, rugs, tile, upholstery all insanely clean and do it with no sticky, soapy residue, which means it's still safe to roll around on the carpet after your team's big touchdown or the opposition scores and you're rolling around in tears. Whatever it may be, contact Zerorez today, 803-262-4020 or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Again, that's Zerorez. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
What you're talking about
on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. There are lots of places to buy your next ride, but there is no place like Love Chevy where you never pay more than MSRP, ever. Come by and feel the difference of love. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Beer Keller Brewing Company, Columbia's original riverfront beer garden and brewery, is now open. Their new location on Columbia's riverfront is an ideal spot for all your future soccer and football tailgates. Games will be shown in both their indoor beer hall as well as their indoor-outdoor beer garden. Grab a beer, bratwurst, or schnitzel from their self-service counters while cheering on your favorite team. Beer Keller is located right off I-26. Take UG to Taylor to Canalside Street, then follow the flags. Come enjoy Beer Keller's laid-back location right on the river. Prost!
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection. From Mount Valley Foundation Services, we put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at fixmyfoundation.com.
Plus tax entitled with approved credit card 866-243-4623 for details. I'm so excited to tell you about the sale this month at JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. New Jeep slashed up to $10,000. Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, Gladiator. New Ram slashed up to $11,000. Quad Cab, Crew Cab, Heavy Duty. 0 down, no payments till next year. Shaky credit, don't sweat it. Savings to $11,000. 0 down and no payments till next year. 378 in Lexington, JT'sJeepRam.com. Jeep Adventure Days.
Jay Phillips here with Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. The real estate market is heating up, and if you're building or buying a new home, you need to call 1075 The Game's longtime mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder. If you ever needed a guru that's in this market, First Palmetto Bank is owned and operated in the Midlands with local decision makers. Processing and underwriting are made easy. If you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call at 803-719-1005 or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
With football in the air, we know fall is here, and people will be moving. Here at First Palmetto Bank, we have products that help home buyers keep payments down. Also, ask me about our refinance options that require zero money out of pocket. Finally, if you're considering building or renovating a home, please ask me about our no-nonsense construction loans. If I can help you, give me a call today, 803-719-1005.
You're making mortgages easy, doing refinancing with no money out of pocket and helping build and renovate. If you're moving, make Jacob Crowder your first call, 803-719-1005.
Thanks, 1075 listeners. You can also email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and an equal housing lender.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Would you like 38 craft beers for $99? Well, just go to 1075thegame.com, look on the right-hand side, and click on Sweet Deals to get more information.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
All right, do have a traffic update for you. Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road. Outside of that, things looking pretty good. No major slowdowns, no accidents to speak of. Feeling a little bit more like fall this weekend. 82 for the high tonight. Actually, the overnight low of 59. Tomorrow, sunny and 83. Maybe some sun in the morning and then some afternoon or evening storms on Sunday and a high of 81. But I'll tell you what, have a nice start. It is breezy, feeling a little bit like fall. 67 on the early game.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The zone blitz confuses even the best players. You got a defensive lineman, Dennis Quinn, number 93, lined up there like he's going to be a pass rusher. And then he drops out and he's not supposed to be there.
5.
He's lined up as a defensive tackle and he plucks the ball. Good hand-eye coordination.
Welcome back into the early game. We have my guy, my teammate, most importantly, my barber, the guy, Dennis Quinn, man. Welcome into the show, brother. How you doing today?
PC, my brother. So glad to have you on, man. Doing great.
yeah, those bring back some great memories right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 intercept. Not only did he, not as you said earlier during practice, Preston, during the week, linemen were dropping footballs on this new strategy Charlie Strong come up with. Not only did he intercept it, he had 29 yards in the game in return yardage. 29 yards. He wasn't just a defensive lineman snagging the ball out of there. He was an agile weapon running back down the field after an interception.
So let's start with that, DQ. I never had a chance to really ask you this. What was your feelings as Coach Strong was implementing, the zone blitz or the drop techniques? What was your feelings throughout the week as we was going over this game plan?
And I loved it because a lot of people don't know I played linebacker in high school. I came in weighing 220 pounds. I redshirted my first year, so dropping back in coverage is something I did in high school a lot. But the key on that right there is selling it. So you got to make sure you engage with the tackle first on the play, then drop back in your zone and read the quarterback eyes. So basically that's what I was doing, going bringing back. Also, I'm a trainer. I held the linebacker in high school and just played off instincts after that.
So what I'm hearing is you came in at 220 and you ate your way up to be a defensive end.
Yes,
Is that how it works?
Yes, sir. Came in 220, got on up to 275, 280.
Bernie's chicken will get you, man. That's what I guess Spurrier initially walked in looking around and went, all right, we got to cut that place out. You're from Georgia. What was it like being a Georgia player playing in this game?
It's crazy because I remember on my recruiting visits up in Georgia, I used to sit in the stands and watch Kirby Smart and Will Buschamp. Play for Georgia Bulldogs. My hometown is like only less than 50 miles from Athens, Georgia, so that was a big game to me because most of the people in my hometown were Georgia fans. So that game's real special to me every year.
Dennis Quinn joining us. We always say former Gamecock, but like somebody yelled at Preston the other day, are you not a Gamecock anymore? You're always a Gamecock. I've asked Preston a million times, Dennis, take me back to that year. You and Preston kind of talk about that, the change in mentality that team had to go from 0-11 to that particular year 8-4, and obviously the win over Ohio State in the bowl game. How did you consume that year? How did it affect you with that big turnaround?
Before the turnaround, I would say those games we, lost every game. We were in the games. We played pretty good defense, and we played some tight games, and we could see the strategies and the fundamentals and the things that the coaches were instilling in us coming into play. So we just kept believing, kept trusting in our coaching and the work we put in. We just knew eventually that we'll get it turned around. So after that first game and first win, that was like real big for us. And that gave us a whole lot of confidence going into the next few games.
From in that particularly that Georgia week, I remember I was just telling Bill, I remember there was something special that was in the locker room, and it felt like something unique was going to happen that game. Could you articulate the difference between that particular game and what was going on previous to that?
For that particular game right there, so I know we had some bulletin board material. I can't remember specifically what it was, but I remember the bulletin board right next to the door that we leave out of, some Georgia guys. I can't remember who it was. Just talking about, how they was going to beat us and just pretty much looking down on us or whatnot. And we had like a whole lot of guys from Georgia also on that roster. My roommate, Kalimba Edwards, and Shannon Watley from Georgia also. And so we just, we circled that game, and we just had a great week of practice. I remember that week, and we just felt the energy. From the time we came out the tunnel, the 2001 to the greatest fans in the country, and we just had a belief. We got off to a pretty good start, and we just rolled from there.
Okay, now when Quincy Carter drops back and he's looking at you to throw the ball to you, do you know you're about to get this pick, or how does that play that scenario out for us?
I remember basically the ball snapped. I took about 3 steps up to engage the tackle, then I dropped back into the zone area, and I think he looked right first. Then I saw him look left, and I saw the receiver coming on a slant. And I just knew and anticipated him throwing that route to him, and I just broke on the ball and just let my instincts take over from there.
How many times throughout the week did Charlie Strong tell you that you were not going to catch the ball? Because that was his strange motivation technique. What was his motivation for you?
Oh yeah. It was like, hey, you get it, you're gonna drop it. Hey, you're gonna drop it. Hey, but it was a lot.
Look,
Yeah, Charlie.
former Gamecock Dennis Quinn joining us this morning, walking down memory lane, reliving the 2001 South Carolina victories over Georgia. Obviously, a huge turning point for Lou Holtz's teams. But let me ask you, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, were you a redshirt freshman in 2000, or were you a true sophomore?
I was a red shirt freshman.
So redshirt, you've been through it. What do you remember being your first impressions of
2000? Yeah, I was a red shirt sophomore. 2000.
Okay, so you've been in the program. It was your third year. What were your impressions of young pup Preston Thorne walking into the new defensive lineman walking into the defensive line room?
Little PT, so I smile every time we talk about technique and fundamentals, because PT ain't gonna tell you that he was the master technician. I mean, as far as hand placement, pad level footwork, and all that, yeah, PT. I mean, Coach Strong, I guess he's a brag on PT about his fundamentals and technique as a defensive lineman.
So that was what he was. He was the technician of the group, huh?
Oh yeah. PT was a technician.
Dennis Quinn joining us this morning. Let's fast forward to tomorrow's game. We've watched Preston we've listened to Preston talk about it. What have you taken away when you have a chance to watch these games and really observe? Let me ask you this. Are you able to watch a football game and enjoy it, or do you get locked in on the defensive line and how they're playing?
Oh, locked in on the defensive line 100% every game. Yeah, every game I watch the defensive line. And I'm just happy that T-Rob is coaching the defensive line right now, because he played defensive line at the highest level. He knows what it takes to win on this level right here. But yeah, I think the guys are going to come along. We have just got to trust the coaching. The T-Rob is putting this out of them. But yeah, I think we're going to get better on the defensive line.
When you talk about the defensive line as far as pass rush, one of the things that I always admired about you was your ability to get off on the pass rush. What kind of keys did you notice as far as being able to get to a quarterback?
The first thing you want to look at the stance of the offensive lineman, whether or not he's heavy or light, and whether or not it's going to be a predictable pass situation, and the get off. So I know we work get off all the time at practice during the summertime. So that's the biggest thing right there, is having a good get off and keying the offensive lineman and just having them playing before the ball snaps.
Let me flip this around for a second, because there's a good possibility that some freshmen will play offensive line for South Carolina tomorrow in that game, in Tree Babalade and Trovon Ball. If you were to give advice to them to go out and play in that environment, in that setting against this team, what advice would you give to freshman offensive linemen tomorrow about going against a defensive line, either like you or like what Georgia will present?
They can do it. Just be confident in your skills, and trust and rely on the coaches, because a freshman can definitely come in and get it done. Because I remember Travell Wharton came in as a true freshman. I just knew he was going to be special because his footwork and his discipline and technique also. So just just trust your ability and trust the coaches, and just believe in yourself.
We got one more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man. I'm sure the time is inflation might have hedged, but Dennis Quinn was one of the 2 team barbers on the team.
Oh,
and this was before NIL, before they had barbershops in the stadium. So we would always be camped out, lines coming out of DQ's room, and he generously would cut our hair before the game. So always appreciated that, DQ.
Yes, sir.
Let's relive it one more time for you, Dennis. Here is the audio, the second interception on Quincy Carter in 2000.
Carter, interception. Dennis Quinn, second.
The zone blitz confuses even the best players. You got a defensive lineman, Dennis Quinn, number 93, lined up there like he's going to be a pass rusher. And then he drops out, and he's not supposed to be there. He's lined up as a defensive tackle, and he plucks the ball. Good hand-eye coordination.
Did it stick to you, or did you pluck it?
Hands, all hands. All hands.
In about a minute.
All hands, baby. Dennis, I appreciate you joining us this morning. A lot of fun. I was a freshman then, and that was a lot of fun that day. Obviously, we look forward to hopefully have a fun one tomorrow, but definitely enjoy you joining us this morning.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
Yes,
Y'all
sir.
keep up the great work.
Appreciate you, DQ. I'll talk with you.
Take care. Former Gamecock, number 93, Dennis
Number
Quinn.
93, my guy, man. I was so fortunate. And we talk about culture. I was so fortunate to come into a group. You know, I had Dennis Quinn, who is the opposite spectrum of a Cleveland Pickney. So we had various characters that were in the room, and those guys really took great care of me, man. They were awesome dudes.
We'll look at the weekend to be. We'll pick some games. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen is the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Come watch the Gamecocks and the #1 Bulldogs.
And men's clinic here.
Saturday, it's another 107.5 The Game viewing party. We'll be giving away Gamecocks football tickets.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
You know what? All men deserve to live their best life, and that means achieving optimal health and wellness. And that requires sometimes treating each patient differently. And at the Men's Clinic with Dr. Dan Balknight, that's exactly what you will get. The Men's Clinic sees patients seeking help with a variety of symptoms. You can have low energy levels, lack of drive and motivation, struggles with concentration on memory. Maybe you've got weight gain or difficulty losing weight, whatever it may have. You may have mood changes, anxiety, and depression. Dr. Dan Balknight at the Men's Clinic will design a program specifically for you, and that's key, specifically for you. So contact the Men's Clinic today and schedule an appointment. It's a pay-as-you-go, and you will be taken care of. 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS, or you can visit them on the web and learn more. mensclinicsc.com. Trust me, if you've been having some issues lately and you're worried, take care of yourself. Contact Dr. Dan Balknight, 803-875-MENS.
Trane heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer. TraneInfo.com. It's hard to stop a Trane.
Hey, Mom and Dad, the kids are back in school. That should free some time up, right? Not so much, because now they need rides. Rides to school, rides to practice, rides to meet other rides. This year, make all those rides comfortable, safe, and affordable with a new Honda from Honda of Columbia. Whether it's a Pilot, Odyssey, CR-V, HR-V, Accord, Civic, or any other Honda. At Honda of Columbia, you'll enjoy the no-hassle pricing and no-pressure buying experience. Honda of Columbia, your friendly family Honda dealer. Highway 378 and I-20.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food services, facilities maintenance, mental health professionals, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more statewide. There are sign-on bonuses for officers, food services, nurses, and law enforcement officers. South Carolina Department of Corrections has great employee benefits, like 6 weeks of PTO, accrued yearly, and police officer retirement. Start a rewarding new career today. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
Plus, text and title to approve credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. This month at JT's Kia, you can get a brand new Kia without a penny out of your pocket. No payments till next year. Right now at JT's Kia. New 2023 Kias from $19,990. Forte, Sorento, Telluride. JT sells more because he saves you more. Nobody beats JT. New Kias from $19,990. Not a penny out of your pocket. No payments till next year. I-77 and Killian Road. JT'sKia.com.
I've got two kids, 14 and 11. They're not the cleanest occasionally. They track in the grass, the dirt. One is the cheerleader. She's down on the sideline. The other plays soccer. So at the Gunner household, it's constantly a need to keep it clean. And I turn to the cleaning pros at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, because no one can clean like Zerorez, because only Zerorez cleans with their patented electrolyzed water. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals. That's right. Zerorez ZR water technology cleans your surfaces without the use of detergents or harsh chemicals, which means your carpets stay cleaner longer. Contact Zerorez today, 803-262-4020, or schedule easily online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Take advantage of the fall sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. That's 803-262-4020. Or you can schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Reminder, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game.
Charlie did not die from an overdose.
Charlie was poisoned.
Websites and social media selling fake medicines may look legitimate, but they're not.
He died in less than 15 minutes after taking the pill.
Any medication not purchased from a licensed pharmacy could be deadly.
No other family should go through this. It's just horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Learn about fake medicine on social media and if an online pharmacy is safe.
1075 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Well, as we suspected, things have picked up out on the highways a little bit. A couple accidents to let you know about. I-26 westbound at exit 101. Also Broad River Road at I-20. Highway 378 at Beechwoods Drive. And Highway 378 there at Pineview Road, Halbrook Drive. Aside from that, things moving along fairly well in other areas. 82 will be our high today, overnight low of 59. Sunny and 83 tomorrow. It's kind of breezy right now, and 68 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
8:35 as we get you up and get you to work, get you ready. It's game day Friday, football Friday here in the state. We've talked with Chris Deering of Prep Red Zone Network. Appreciate him. And that was Dennis Quinn, former teammate of one Preston Thorne, and also a big part of those 2000 and 2001 victories that really kind of propelled South Carolina. That's when South Carolina, I think, under Lou Holtz said, okay, we can play in this conference. And then Steve Spurrier showed you couldn't just play in the conference, you could win in this conference, and Shane Beamer trying to kind of come back from that.
That's a great distinction, because I think that those earlier teams were trying to get us on the map, prove to everybody that we can play here. And then Spurrier was like, no, that's not enough. We should be expecting to win. And that's been the expectation since.
And tomorrow, a great opportunity. Preston, and we'll get to some games here in just a minute, but real quick on this, do you believe in the win-win scenario where there's really nothing to I don't go get beat by 40, right? Really, if you, I hate to say it like this, cover the points, but you should be able to cover this point spread. You really should. This is a big point. 4 touchdowns. South Carolina's got to take some steps to be competitive with Georgia. But it is a scenario where if you win, you have so much publicity throughout the evening and next week. If you lose, everybody's going to say, well, they were 27 and a half, 28-point underdogs. Like it's a win-win. There's really no reason to go and play with pressure. Do you believe in that scenario, or are you, for being a former player, being a coach? No, a loss is a loss, and you should take it the same.
Yeah. No, a loss is not a loss. This is the number one team in the country by an overwhelming majority. And I think what you want to do in this game is to go out there and compete. Give yourself a chance to be in this game at a certain point and let something maybe happen. You do not want to get blown out of the building. You don't want to have the doors blown off so that you don't even have a chance. It's not a moral victory. Those don't count. However, moving forward, you want to be able to say that we competed against these better teams.
Let's look at a few games around the country here and just kind of give our thoughts. Let's start with a noon game, LSU and Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a team we're still learning about. This is not your Mike Leach chuck it around the ballpark team. LSU last week smoked Grambling. You knew they would do that. It'll be a noon game, ESPN. LSU is on the road. They're a 9.5-point favorite. And again, we're trying to learn about Mississippi State. What do you like? What are you looking for a little bit in this game?
Jaden Daniels. I'm still learning about Jaden Daniels. We've been very high on him. I'm not sure. That's all I want to say. I do think Brian Kelly's a very good coach. I like to see what they're going to do with Jaden Daniels.
Reminder, Mississippi State comes in next week. Obviously, South Carolina playing Georgia. Mississippi State playing Mississippi State playing LSU. No real advantage there, I think, for either team in terms of the opponent, where you get one who's easier and maybe have a little bit of a breather. Should be a physical game. Again, noon there. I would kind of lean to LSU and Jaden Daniels getting the job, 9.5. Looking at another one here that is interesting tomorrow. Let's go Washington, Michigan State here for a second. Wild week for Michigan State. I don't look at that as much as, man, that contract Michigan State gave to Mel Tucker after just one season was absolutely crazy. And now a lot of turmoil there, a lot of issues. And Washington, again, is kind of, if I have to have a sleeper, especially with the rise all of a sudden of Florida State and Texas, if I had to have a sleeper to make the college football playoff, it would be number 8, Washington, 5 o'clock tomorrow on Peacock.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes, because there could be a situation where the players rally around the adversity that they face in the program. Because regardless of whether or not they agreed or disagree with what Mel Tucker did, there has been turmoil throughout. Everybody has to adjust for his shortcomings. And so does that bring them together, or do people start saying, I don't think I'm here for this, and start looking for another way out? Because that's the way you think about this transfer portal. Things get tough. These guys might be saying, okay, he's out, I'm out, or whatever the case is. So I think Washington has their thing more together. They're on an upward trajectory. I'd take Washington.
One other thing about this game, just FYI, the Pac-12 obviously dissolving. I know that Michigan State's not the Michigan State that, and they're, as we just said, wild situation there with Mel Tucker. The Pac-12 is off to a pretty good start. 8 teams in the top 25 this past week. This is one of those games where, again, it's you're not picking up a marquee win, but it's the Pac-12 kind of, again, going out on a very high note by knocking off another Big Ten team. Remember, this is a conference game next year. Washington and Michigan State, an actual conference game. Looking again around, let's go back to where we were at initially in the first hour. Colorado State. Sunglasses, hats, loud music, and a 20.5-point favorite.
Yeah, they're going to beat them like a drum, I would assume. I don't know. I really didn't know much about Colorado State. I remember their uniforms. Mike Bobo was a coach there several years ago. That's about all I got. And so I'm glad that the coach said something. Jay Norvell said something to bring some juice into this game besides Dion, but I don't expect anything miraculous to happen.
Back to the SEC for a second. Tennessee and Florida tomorrow. This used to be an incredible rivalry. It really kicked off SEC play, and everybody got behind it. I mentioned just a little while ago, Tennessee has not won 2 straight in this series since 2003, 2004. Gators at home tomorrow, plus 6.5. I feel like the line's low. I feel like the line is low. Tennessee, again, struggled a little bit with Austin Peay last week, but other than that, were they looking ahead a little bit? I think it was only 13-6, if I'm thinking correctly, at halftime. And then Tennessee ran the ball. They've run the ball effectively the first 2 weeks, over 200 yards rushing in each game. Florida, you want to ballpark what Florida is
as far as
a program right now?
They're very close to turmoil. I'm not sure. I think Coach Billy Napier's seat is heating up. He doesn't have the charisma to pull them through this, and Florida is traditionally a pretty outlandish fan base anyway. So this one gets ugly. I can see a lot of conversations starting to be had around there.
Florida gets Charlotte next week,
thankfully.
But then they go on the road to Kentucky. And that's one where you talk about the fan base. I don't know what that Kentucky game will look like in 2 weeks, but obviously if they lose this one tomorrow, if they win, it's a springboard for Billy Napier. If they lose, you could be looking at a 2-3 September, much like if South Carolina, this will be the discussion next week about the Mississippi State game for South Carolina. That will be a big one. So we'll see what happens. 803-404-6100. All right. This one's different. Let's go to Germany. Just real quick. Let's go out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Hugh from Germany wants to weigh in. All right,
Bill
Hugh.
Preston.
Good morning.
Bill and Preston. What's
Guten
happening?
Tag.
Guten Tag. Yeah, so basically I listen to you guys your morning time, my afternoon, but I had a question. I was wondering if South Carolina max protects this weekend, will we have a chance with the Georgia defense? And I'll appreciate you guys, and I'll hang up and I'll listen.
Thank you for listening. I think that is the furthest phone call we've ever received on this program, so I appreciate that.
Let me test out my 2 years of high school German. Ich kleine. Small.
Okay.
Small chance.
Well, this goes back. I tell you what, we'll get to this in the next segment. Hugh, hang on.
It is a good question, and it's worth.
And
worth
we're
having
going
this
we're going to
discussion.
break it down in just a minute. Real quick, Tennessee -6.5. You like it? You taking Florida?
No, give me Tennessee.
Tennessee, I'm kind of with you on that. Not the best. You heard Chris Deering kind of mention this yesterday, just about an hour and a half ago. Not the best slate of college football tomorrow. No matchups that feature two ranked teams taking on each other. It's kind of, I mean, you just start looking at Florida State's a big favorite over Boston College, Penn State, Illinois, LSU, Mississippi State, early on Kansas State, Missouri. Again, not just, you got a Weber State, Utah game if you're into that kind of thing. Central Michigan, Notre Dame. Notre Dame next week at home against Ohio State. Get ready for that one. Again, Oklahoma, Tulsa. There is an interesting Minnesota, North Carolina game. And we got your
15,
your Nerd Bowl, Northwestern and Duke. Duke should win that one.
Duke will beat them down.
Handily.
Beat them down on the brains and on the field.
We'll come back. Maybe we'll get an upset pick if what team we think is going to win an upset game. And we will talk about what Hugh just asked, South Carolina and Georgia. We'll give our final thoughts on the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Gamecocks Game Day will be broadcasting live from O'Hara's at 10:30 a.m., getting you ready for the Gamecocks and the top-ranked Bulldogs.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Presley, let me tell you about my friends at Integrated Media. It's time to get ready. We told you in the spring. We told you in the summer. The season has started. It's week 3. What are you waiting for? It'll be over before you know it. You need to get ready with your Samsung Terrace TVs. Get them waterproof. Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. Or my favorite, controlling all your devices from just one remote. So you don't have to go scrounging for the TV remote, the cable box remote, the Amazon Fire remote, all of those different things. Just get them all done. And with one remote, and you'll take care of it all. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or catch them online at integratedmediainc.com. It's online at integratedmediainc.com.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Zach Wilson will feel intense pressure Sunday, and not just from Micah Parsons, folks. This is Wilson's third and most critical chance to show the Jets he can be their guy. Now, elsewhere, Justin Fields, Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, and surprisingly, Joe Burrow have got to start generating points. Burrow versus the Ravens. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
This year's Carolina and Clemson Jackpot $5 scratch-off tickets give you a chance to win up to $200,000, whether you're a Gamecock or a Tiger. Plus, you can enter your tickets into the Second Chance promotion for a chance to step on the field or the court to win $50,000, $75,000, or even $100,000. In this state, winning the Palmetto Series does matter that much. So get your tickets today. See SCEducationLottery.com for odds and details. Winning and non-winning tickets can be entered. Second chance odds depend on number of entries received.
Can you imagine efficiency and productivity at an all-time high?
Everyone is happier.
And everything is cleaner.
You no longer have to think about all the junk that's in your way.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
You're incredibly good at what you do.
We're good at what we do, too.
Why not outsource the cleanup to us?
Put us in the game, Coach. Put us in the game.
We're industrial strength magicians.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
Football Friday.
Sponsored by Brian's Heating and Cooling.
On your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Final segment of the morning. It's been a fun morning as we look at this. We will not do this next year. No South Carolina-Georgia game. And it's been a series for South Carolina that generally when the Gamecocks win, the vast majority of the time, when the Gamecocks win, there is a standout performance that goes down, not just as standout, but as legendary. Here is a recap of a few of those standout performances over the last 30 years.
Bennett, touchdown, South Carolina! With 2 seconds to go. Deuce Staley is going to score from 51 yards.
Carter, big interception. Dennis Quinn, second.
Bennett goes to the end zone and taken away for a touchdown, and that is Brian Scott. I mean, the defensive back was there to make the interception.
Slides over to the near sideline. Ace drops one, picks it up at the 30, 35. Ace with a move up the middle. Another at the 50. Open space for Ace. He can't get him at the 30. At the 20, got one man to beat. 10-5. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Ace Sanders.
Nathan Theus will snap it. Erickson puts it down. Eddie skimmed it. Oh, my.
Wow. Into coverage and picked off. Mukwama down the near sideline. At the 30, at the 20. Run, Mukwama. In the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina.
Take that, Georgia.
Touchdown. Blankenship looks, nods, says he's ready to take it to the third overtime. Kicks it up. And no good. That's it. He missed it. And the Gamecocks win it at Athens in second overtime. Carolina takes down number 3, Georgia. They win it 20-17. It's a fake by the Gamecocks. Melvin Ingram left side. He's running across the 40, 45. Georgia territory inside the 30. Big Melvin inside the 15, 10. Touchdown, Carolina. Touchdown, Melvin Ingram. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. No
68
flag.
yards,
No
Tommy.
flags.
Preston, a lot of great memories there. And I'll be honest, if South Carolina's to win tomorrow, we're going to have to include a clip of something to that list. If it's going to take a great, and in my opinion, it's going to have to be a clip of Spencer Rattler having a monstrous day in Athens tomorrow. And I'll just say this. I'll just say, if he does, and again, to me, that's what it's got to take. Spencer Rattler has to throw for 300 tomorrow. Minimum.
That's the floor.
If he goes out and carries South Carolina to a win, I do think you look at it and you go, all right, Shedeur Sanders, I see you. Spencer Rattler, I see you. There's your two Heisman candidates. And throw Travis Hunter in there, I guess, as well.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, yes. I just.
But he's in the conversation, no doubt.
That's the kind of performance he has to have. Hugh just asked us from Germany. Thank you, Hugh. Max Protect. I don't think you can do it every time. You can't bunch up the box. But there are going to be times tomorrow, South Carolina, we talked about this yesterday, has to throw the deep ball. They've got to throw the ball down the field. That's probably when you take a chance one-on-one on the outside with Leggett and hopefully Juice Wells.
The only issue with Max Protect is that Max Protect is good for the number of people. It doesn't necessarily account for how fast people are getting there in their one-on-one. So we can block more people, but even with that, can we block the people in front of us? And that's what they've struggled with in the North Carolina game. Got better against Furman. We'll see.
It's going to be a day where, again, South Carolina's going to have to play not a perfect game, but there really can be almost no turnovers. And in my opinion, you have to win the turnover battle by 2. You got to be +2 in the turnover column. And there needs to be a big special teams play. And maybe that's just Georgia dropping a punt. I don't know. But there's got to be a play there that sets you up for an easy score, kind of a momentum-changing type play.
Yeah, and then go back to the defensive line. If you go back to that 2019 game, Javon Kinlaw played
monster.
Lights out. I mean, he was disruptive. He was causing havoc all across the field. He almost single-handedly changed that game with his effort and his pressure that he applied during the game. Do we have a defensive lineman that can step up? We haven't had that to this point. But that's where it's going to need to happen.
Poetic justice. If Tonka Hemingway tomorrow hushes the Sanford Stadium crowd, it would be. And then afterwards says, well, Kirby called me out. Kirby called me out.
That was their motivation.
Exactly. Right. Kirby actually did call them out.
Yeah. It's been a fun week. It's been a fun morning. We'll be back on Monday morning to recap. Final thought?
Man, let's throw it up. And let's see who can go.
We'll see you on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. Keeping your house clean, it can only be left to the professionals. Oh, I'm sure you're good at it. I'm not trying to accuse you of not being good, but I'm just telling you, the professionals at Zero Risk Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning have been doing this, and they have something that I promise you do not. That is their patented ZR water technology. No harsh chemicals, no soapy residue. It will leave your carpet, your rugs, your towel, your upholstery looking insanely clean and insanely clean for longer. So contact them today, 803-262-4020. Schedule with ease online, ZeroRiskColumbia.com. Take advantage of their September sale. You can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. You just need to remind them. You heard it here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. So again, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. That's 803-262-4020 or with ease online, ZeroRiskColumbia.com. Zero S, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence.
Y'all have a great weekend. Take care. We will see you. Oh, hats. No, I wear hat backwards. Just prove a point.
Take your hat off.
Take care.
The room, sir.